How's it going, folks? Welcome to another fun at-home table read. Tonight, we're doing another unmade script. This time, Hulk from 1994. It's definitely different than any of the movies that have been made, so I can't wait to see how this one's going to go. Let's jump right into introducing ourselves. I'm Logan. I'm going to be doing action description tonight.
Hello, I'm George. I'll be Bruce Banner.
I'm Cate. I'm Betty Ross.
And I'm Travis playing later.
Oh my God, you said it right. Okay, well, away we go. Hulk, screenplay by John Turman. Fade in. A man running in ragged, torn, oversized clothes, running for all he's worth while struggling to hold on to his pants. Early morning, empty streets. He stumbles, finally gives up on the pants, and lets them drop. The man is naked now, still making a mad dash for safety. Down an alley, he tries the doors on a tenement slum building, finds one open. Inside, a long abandoned building. Down halls, upstairs, up. A room, a torn mattress, some junk food wrappers, empty bottles, broken furniture, old soiled clothing. The man huddles in the corner against the wall. Weak, feverish, tormented, all the symptoms of addiction. He runs a hand through his hair and comes out in clumps. Silence. A boarded up window lets in daggers of dawn's light. Now, only the man's labored breathing. A good look at him now, huddled against the wall. Dr. Bruce Banner might be handsome under other circumstances. Now, he's just desperate. Whoop, 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 whoop. Chopper blades beat the air outside, sirens closing. Sounds, cars, trucks, running feet, guns loading, cocking, more equipment. This is the United States military. The area has been cordoned off. You are surrounded. Banner looks around helplessly. What does the human mind think of at a time like this? He finds some oil-stained pants, 2 sizes too big. Pimp pants. Purple. He pulls them on over his nakedness. A length of dirty rope cinches them around the waist. I'm giving you the countdown from 10. If you don't come out, we're coming in. Banner holds the filthy clothing tightly to his body, a last linking to a vanishing humanity. Whoever you are, you can't escape. 10. A heartbeat is faintly audible, and we wonder when it began. 9, 8, 7. Beat. Banner covers his ears. A tear runs down his face. 6, 5, 4. Beat. Beat. The heartbeat drowns out all other sounds. His hands seem momentarily distorted, oversized cables knot and ripple, bunching beneath the skin. 3, 2.
Please, no, don't.
1.
I'll hurt you.
Beating too fast now. The man's eyes shut tight. Cut. A ticking sound replaces his heartbeat, steady and mechanical. On a green light. Super. 2 months ago. Flickering, flaring, glowing like a small sun, dark filaments arcing. Brilliant and beautiful, but as the camera pulls out, it's only a reflection we're seeing. The ticking goes faster. An image in the eyes of a monster, a bug-eyed, heavy-skinned monster. Super. Los Osos test site, Nevada desert. The ticking is the urgent staccato of a Geiger counter. The man is a monster. Under layers of technology, a radiation suit, helmet, and protective goggles at a lead glass workstation. He's operating an insulated radiation sleeve. Inside the radiation chamber, 2 tiny pieces of exotic metal, liquid metal on a calibrated ratchet. Gamadium 282. The greenish light flares as they are brought closer together. The light between them, a plasma shape, ebbs and flows like a living thing. The ticking races faster and faster, running together into almost a constant drone now. The light brightens, filling the chamber, washing out the detail of the man's face except for the barest hint of a smile. His lips move, and an electronically transmitted play-by-play echoes.
Material required for critical mass almost negligible. Purity seems to be the sole determinant of stability and fusionability.
Underneath the gear, the man's attention is unwavering, emotionless. Satisfied, he moves the calibration units apart and the colors fade from the air as the clicks drop down to a steady, safe, rhythmic beat. The man slips out of the sleeve, flips the protective goggles up, and removes his helmet. It's our man, Dr. Bruce Banner, 30s, is a man of singular intensity, part Oppenheimer, part Einstein. He runs his fingers through a thick mop of hair, clearly unused to a comb.
The gadget is feasible, gentlemen.
A muffled smattering of applause shakes him from his obsession. Behind the thick pane of glass above him in the observation room, scientists and technicians watch monitoring equipment printing out a steady flow of graphs and charts, while Banner replaces Gamadium-282 into a tiny lead glass canister and sets it into a padded containment case.
Edward, the delivery system needs recalibration, as I suspected.
Edward later, unremarkable looking, looks up.
Letter, are you?
Later fumbles for a mic and responds.
Right here, Dr. Banner.
This time, my specifications, all right?
Later's notebook is a mass of inky frustrations. Variations on a formula are crossed out and attempted again, confused question marks underlined. Later looks around self-consciously at the reproach and nods. No one likes being publicly corrected, but this looks like a guy who's used to it by now. The room thins out. Printouts go to analysis. Overdue coffee breaks are taken. A technician removes the containment cases to storage. In the lab, Banner cleans up, drops his insulated gloves into a radiation disposal. General Thunderbolt Ross enters. An imposing presence. He's earned those 3 stars, and damn it, a long overdue 4th, too. He looks unhappy. The general motions to Senator Stanley, are in behind him. Stanley is a conservative, aw shucks politician, uncomfortable with this high-tech setting. You've met Senator Stanley? Senator Stanley looks around nervously.
It's safe in here, Dr. Banner. The radiation, I mean?
Banner points to the radiation shield on his ID badge.
You're perfectly safe, Senator. This would turn green if there were the slightest radiation leak.
Stanley examines the radiation shield. It's quite pink. Well, the Senator has some news.
I wanted to tell you in person if it's any constellation. I couldn't get the support we needed. That the Senate Appropriations Committee killed us. I'm sorry.
Banner looks to the general. Gamma Project is dead. Banner is a man tight under control. You never know how he feels about this. The general is another story. He smacks a table and Banner winces. Those bean-counting, pencil-pushing idiots. What do they think keeps this nation safe and secure? In their dreams, what do they imagine preserves the American way of life?
You're preaching to the already converted general.
And it's our technological edge, damn it! They're pissing it away!
It's their argument that we're dismantling more bombs now than we know what to do with.
This is different. We're harnessing an entirely new energy source. Gamma technology will make nuclear power look like a candle in a cave. The potential.
A glimmer of Banner's passion for this project. The senator puts a hand on his shoulder, then looks at the radiation precautions and withdraws it, wiping it on his suit.
It's too late. The Cold War's over, son. The Gamma Project has been reclassified and slated for dismantling.
The prototypes. I can show them something in maybe 6 months if we push it.
No tests, scrap them. Banner, you'll supervise. Then we'll. Good luck, son. You'll do fine.
Senator Stanley exits. General Ross turns angrily to Banner. Your delays cost us, Banner. Your precautions.
But you know we're working with Gamadium-282. It's an untested, unstable, transuranium nuclei, a super heavy element that has the misfortune to tend towards spontaneous fission, presenting us a sweet little problem. In order to control the highly penetrative gamma rays, we've had to...
Pure passion without a trace of sarcasm. Of course, it's techno-babble to us and General Ross. Yeah, blah, 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 expensive words. It doesn't matter now, does it? $500 million, Banner. You went way over budget and got nothing to show for it. You're a weak sister. You let your country down. Good news, next week, you're unemployed, and I don't have to look at you anymore, you milksop. The general gives Banner a disgusted look and heads for the exit. At the last moment, Banner stops him with,
But sir,
What? We're already, we're ready to hit General Ross, but not Banner. If he's angry, it's bottled up in self-blame.
Nothing. I should have.
You should have. The general slams the door behind him. Banner is alone. Expressionless. He starts stacking papers and notebooks. The observation room is empty now, except for Later, who watches Banner start to clean out the lab.
You blew it, genius.
Cut to exterior, scenic overlook, Hoover Dam Day. A wonder of human engineering. Mary, the woman behind the camera, looks like a typical tourist, but there's a hint of Eastern European hardness to her that go with the vague accent. Beside her is Gus, a crew cut who looks like he should be in a bowling league somewhere, or training rebels in Central America.
Incredible. There's nothing like American engineering.
Ingenuity.
Gus checks out his gold Rolex as Later walks up.
You're late. We took a risk coming here.
Later's nervous, trying to look cool.
You took a risk? I'm only sneaking off a top secret military installation.
What do you got?
The fashion accessory for the terrorist group who needs to put an exclamation point on their political statements. The Gamma Bomb.
Mary turns to Gus, impressed.
We've heard of it. It could be worth a fortune. North Korea, Pakistan. We could take our pick in the Middle East.
You're bowling in the big leagues. Banner's new bomb.
Banner, I put 10 years of my life on this. I helped engineer the delivery system.
Of course, but intelligence reports say only Banner knows the big picture.
I get his notebooks, and I can get my hands on a canister of pure Ganadium 282 U.S. weapons grade. A golf ball will be able to level a city, and no other country will be in a position to manufacture it for at least another 20 years. How do you know it works? Because Banner's a goddamn genius. What warranties does a buyer have? Well, hell, this isn't Radio Shack, guys.
Later self-consciously looks around and lowers his voice.
Talking about a lot of money. You want to make this happen? We need documentation.
Later's being squeezed uncomfortably, and he's a little man.
Like test data?
That'll do it. Government letterhead, of course.
But how are you going to get test data without a boom?
In her greed, the accent comes out. On Later, little men are dangerous. He resigns himself to a risky idea.
There'll be a boom.
Cut to interior Gamma Lab night. Banner's stacks of notebooks on a desk. His lab coat on the chair, ID badge pinned to it. A hand opens the top notebook. Every page is scribbled with ink stained with what looks like an alien language. Science. Click. The pages flip. Symbols and calculations dense with brilliance. Click. Fast food wrappers with notations scribbled on them, stapled and glued in place. Arrows direct work from one thought to another, exclamation points and question marks. Passionate work. Click, click. A tiny spy camera clicks and whines, a flashlight clenched between teeth. A picture of Banner's ID badge on the lab coat. Notebooks. Notes surround a sketch of a unique bomb casing labeled The Gadget, the G-Bomb. Written with the casing in the unit, in script, Bad Betty. A man writes the name on his hand with a pen. Suddenly, the lab lights come on. A doctor's at the door to the lab. Who's there? The lab's closed. Oh, it's you. Later pockets the camera, tries to hide what he's doing.
I was just cleaning up.
The doctor notices the suspicious air quotes and approaches the desk. What are you doing? As the doctor crosses to him, clutched behind Later's back, is the metal Enola Gay paperweight. Those are banners. Later brings the paperweight down on the man's head. Instead of dropping like a dead weight, the doctor pitches forward, grabbing at the back of his head and screaming in pain, not like in the movies. Later panics, curses under his breath, and chases the thrashing man through the lab, swinging wildly, missing as often as he connects.
Shut up, damn it. Shut up.
The doctor yells, things break loudly, furniture overturned, noise, mess. Later is a bumbler. The doctor finally trips and falls, hitting his head hard on a desk corner as he goes down. This quiets him. Later freezes, breathing hard. Outside, voices and lights draw closer. Later bends over the fallen doctor and smashes his shin into a chair. He yips in pain, then grits through it and checks the doctor's pulse. Later looks around frantically as footsteps get closer. Later grabs a metal chair, raises it, and swings down hard at a frame. There's a nasty sound, and Later is frozen for a moment, as he nearly retches at his own handiwork. He's in over his head and not cut out for this. He smashes a window with a chair, setting off alarms. He climbs through it into the night just before the MPs burst in. Time cut. Interior lab later, morning. A mess. The body covered in a sheet. MPs investigate the scene, led by Major Talbot, mustachioed and slick. General Ross chews on a cigar as Talbot confers with him. She's all business.
Ross. Betty Ross. There should be an ID for me. In relation to the old Iron Butt Thunderbolt. His little princess.
Hayseed straightens as if she had 2 stars on her sleeve. He finds the ID pass, the gates open, he waves her in. Back inside the guard shack, he pulls out the monster comic book again.
Sweet Jesus, that old Iron Butt's daughter.
The car crests her eyes and descends down the other side, revealing exterior Los Ojos day. Only our government would build an entire town in the middle of nowhere. Military and support personnel for exterior Los Ojos test base, same. The centerpiece of the town. A playground for men and their adult toys, weapons of war. Into this ritual men's refuge, Betty Ross drives. She slows down alongside a couple of soldiers.
Excuse me, soldier. I'm looking for old Iron Butt.
The general's at the test range.
Soldier points down the dirt road angling out of town. As she drives off, he does a double take because Betty is too young and too beautiful to be this confident.
Maybe she's redecorating his office.
A dirt road. The sedan wishes it were a Jeep as it bumps along towards.
Well, whoever it was got a good look at Banner's notebooks.
The whole Gamma project is in there. Reported or not, it's still classified. We got a spy.
Someone with security clearance. The alarms went off when he left, not when he entered.
Rest of a dead civilian. Washington will want to send someone. Just where I need to toilet train some kid from Langley while we're trying to run a spy hunt. Major, you can babysit. Cut to exterior Nevada desert day. Vast, unending. Mountains rise up from the high desert floor. One road cuts down a bleak landscape, a cloud of dust off in the distance. A car, a late model sedan approaching. A cyclone fence frosted with razor wire extends to the horizon. There's nothing to differentiate the empty land inside the fence from the land outside except a sign. Military installation, no trespassing. The guardhouse beside it, in the middle of nowhere. The Hayseed guard stops reading and hides a worn copy of Strange Tales number 89 in his pocket. He approaches the car.
This is a restricted government installation.
He does a jaw drop when the driver lowers her sunglasses. Betty Ross would get that reaction in a lot of places, but out here where they don't get many pretty women.
How can I help you, miss?
Exterior test site day. Desolation, more Nevada desert. Heat shimmers off a dry nothingness. Nature is broken by the Gamma bomb. Moving into frame, offloading from a truck, a hot potato about the size of a vacuum cleaner.
Be careful with that. Relax, it's not live.
A video game. A cutting-edge version of Tetris. Banner plays it with one hand while he eats a sandwich with another, sitting on the hot desert sun until the shadow passes. He squints up at Betty Ross, sunglasses on.
Hello, stranger.
Banner could be the nerd you never talked to in high school. He doesn't know what to say to women. The men around him have noticed Ross and watch as they slack off. Banner reacts to the men. He knows what to say to them.
I watch the jacket shielding. If it's breached, there's the chance it's not armed, but it could be. Do I know you?
She smiles suggestively and nods. There's a sexual tension that he has no idea what to do with.
The last time you saw me, we were both naked.
A guffaw from a burly ranking army engineer. Banner couldn't be more uncomfortable.
This a put on?
Betty sees this and softens, feeling suddenly cruel.
How could you forget the hula hoop champion of Los Alamos?
Realization dawns on Banner and he relaxes. Not just a pretty girl, it's...
Petty? Petty Ross, what are you doing here?
At the sound of Ross, the men go back to work. On cue, General Ross interrupts, trailed by the mini entourage of Army Remora, including Major Talbot. Betty? The General and Ross, his daughter, share an awkward greeting.
They still call you Iron Butt.
Yeah, not to my face they don't. What brings you here?
I'm what you probably referred to as the diaper from Langley.
Major Talbot smiles. She's tough and she knows the score. The general frowns. Why would they send you, honey?
I'm qualified and I requested it, General.
Of course, I just expected. Damn, it's good to see you, girl. Major Talbot extends a hand. He's a comer, sees the politics of an attractive woman with a 3-star father. His babysitting job isn't going to be half bad. He greets Betty like a lady.
Major General Talbot, head of base security. I'll take you around, Miss Ross.
Special Agent Ross, Major. I work for a living, just like you.
Talbot smiles.
I'm going to need personnel files for all workers with security clearance and a schedule of base operations.
Yes, sir, ma'am. Ma'am.
Cut to Interior Officers Club night. Military officers, off-duty scientists, anybody really. Some enlisted men have put together a decent rhythm and blues band and they play in the corner. Betty Ross sits with Talbot, files in front of them, but Talbot's getting personal. He tends to do pretty well with the ladies, and he's in mid-pitch.
With a career army officer for a father, nothing you ever did quite measure up because you weren't a boy. It was tough, but I bet you can probably hit a curveball.
Talbot's good. We're not sure how Ross feels about the capsule review.
Throw one. I played pitcher.
Ross's POV. As Banner enters and sits alone at the end of the bar, Ross notices, gathers her files, and exits on a deadpan.
You're incredibly perceptive, Major. Excuse me, please.
The bar. She sits down beside Banner as the bartender slides him a glass mug of warmed milk.
Well, Banner, it's nice to know some things haven't changed.
Banner turns, pleasantly surprised.
What do you mean? I grew up, no Bosco.
Over in the corner, Talbot watches.
I see you made a new friend.
Ross looks surprised that Banner noticed.
Talbot? He's just a sheep in wolf's clothing.
Banner likes that.
If we asked your father, he'd say the major's just your type.
That's why we don't ask my father. But I'm flattered. After all this time, you're jealous.
Banner really doesn't know how to flirt.
No, I was just...
It's okay. I mean, you're not married, are you?
Actually, you arrived just in time for the divorce. We're scrapping the Gamma project. Tomorrow, I'm officially unemployed, so I'm sitting here drinking milk. Hey, what does a guy who's just lost his job drink?
Bourbon.
Right here.
Bartender serves it up. Banner raises his glass and takes a slug. Suddenly, he grimaces and doubles over. Ross grabs him in concern.
What's wrong?
Ulcer.
She helps him to his feet.
Let me take you to the hospital.
No, at hospitals. I'll be fine. I've got some medicine at my place.
Ross helps Banner out. Exterior base night. Banner walks more easily. Stars out all above them. A desert wind.
What do you do now that you're shutting down the lab?
This is my lab. Here.
He points to his head.
They can't close this down.
Ross smiles admiringly. Then,
You always had a brilliant mind, Bruce. Why use it to build bombs?
The army builds bombs. I ask fundamental questions about the universe.
And the bombs finance the answers.
They used to.
Does it ever bother you?
But no one intends to use them. They're just experiments, tactical deterrents, political tools.
There's always someone around willing to use them.
Nutcases, madmen.
The world's full of them. That's my job now. FBI counterintelligence.
So you grew up too. Well, here we are.
he stops. She anticipates a moment.
This is where I live.
He unlocks the door. Interior, Banner's house same. A spare war-era clapboard. No personal touches.
This is where they store me when I'm not at the lab.
Banner laughs at his joke and crosses to the bathroom. Ross looks at a painting of an ocean scene, right out of a Howard Johnson's. Banner starts swigging a bottle of ulcer medicine.
Nice painting. Holiday Inn?
Banner misses her sarcasm and answers straight.
Howard Johnson's from Chicago. That's a Motel 6.
A desert scene in pastels. Ross jokes.
You're a thief.
Banner's clearly offended.
No, I bought them. Most of the hotels will sell them to you if you ask.
Banner sips more ulcer medicine.
How you feeling?
Fine, really. Just sick of the taste of this stuff since high school. Bourbon on an ulcer, that was really stupid.
She touches his arm.
It's really good to see you again, Banner.
Yeah, it's really good to see you too, Ross.
Pals. He wants to say more, but childlike, he can't be intimate with anything other than his work.
And thanks. I guess I'll see you tomorrow, 0700, bombs away. Good night.
He extends his hand in a formal shake, and she takes it. Outside, same. Ross steps off the porch alone and shakes her head.
Betty Ross, you do go for the odd ones.
Cut to Banner's ID, or a good copy that slides through an ID gate, locks open. Exterior test site security gate night. A man carrying what looks like a briefcase walks towards the test site. Angle on the G-bomb. Gloved hands slide a small canister of pure gamadium 282 out of a padded container and into the bomb housing. Gently, it's lowered into place, but not entirely, leaving a small gap. Cut to a desert sunrise and a series of shots. Long light crawls over rock formations, dramatic, wind-whipped sand, all nature's work until the steel tower of the test site slashes the landscape with a hand of man. Exterior test site dawn. Robot arms swing the gamma bomb into a test pad and now a disarmament area. Radiation warnings caution like Burma shave signs. Interior site monitoring room day. Giant television screens watch the test site 20 miles away. Like an IMAX movie, the desert stretches out for miles. Suddenly, like a Hockney photo, the grotesque head of a lizard fills one screen after another. Tongue flicking at a camera lens, the technician electronic crackle.
We've got a visual on Godzilla called Johnny Sacco and Giant Robot.
A few laugh from the technicians and the scientists at the monitoring base. The lizard takes a nap.
And a nice round of applause for the audio-visual department for such forethought and camera placement. Switch to overhead cameras, please.
The screen switches with an elevated view of the test site.
Gadget, prototype, disassemble sequence loaded, ready to engage.
Interior control room, same. A smaller and more technical space. Banner enters and flicks switches. He watches the same scene on a small black and white TV monitor.
Ready, abort sequence.
Later sits at a vacant computer console displaying the same disarmament sequence on master screens. With no one looking, he reprograms his console. On screen, he exits to a prompt symbol, then slides a CD-ROM from his pocket. He pops it into the drive and the display greets him with countdown initialization procedure. He responds to user. He types B banner. To B banner password, later types Bad Betty. Computer returns, not a valid file name. Later looks nervous, deletes the space and one of the T's. BADBETY. Computer grants access. Detonation sequencing. 3 button icons appear beneath this. Later clicks the mouse on each order. Red, device armed. Yellow, delivery engaged. Green, detonation sequence commenced. Screen is filled by a clock ticking down beginning at 10 minutes. Later switches his screen back to the disarming procedure, which matches the other monitors. He couldn't be happier if he were a pig and this was a world of shit. He crosses to the bank of testing monitors and equipment and begins turning them on. Exterior test site, same. Tight on the gamma bomb, the canister of gamadium 282 drops and locks into place, removing the gap for a tight fit. The red warning light turns green and an electronic pulse sounds as it arms. Test site, wider. Another electronic pulse, quieter, but there's no human around to hear it. Same, wider, desert panorama, barely audible. The steel tower is now just a tiny pinprick of the landscape. The sound of a motorcycle jarring after the quiet. The kid on it imagines he's a rebel. Rick Jones, 16, doing donuts in the desert sand, riding a wheelie in the crest of the butt, whooping it up until his bike dies. He tries to restart it, but with no luck. Interior control room, same. Banner plays Tetris. Nothing for him to do but wait for his life's work to be dismantled. Then he notices out of the corner of his eye the black and white monitor. He swings to the computer and punches in some commands. The black and white image zooms in on the sand, and he stares hard.
Hey, Edward, take a look at this.
Later is rightfully paranoid.
What?
Later sees nothing.
There, does that look like a tire tread? We had a hell of a desert wind last night. There shouldn't be a tire tread out there unless...
It's probably a snake or nothing.
Later works the computer, switching cameras in the field until, on a distant ridge, an ant. Banner magnifies, not an ant. Someone on a motorcycle.
There's someone out there.
He's in H7. That's a mile away from GZ. Besides, this isn't a test. There's no danger.
It's a secured area. There's always the possibility of radiation exposure. I don't believe it. It's just a kid.
Banner is up, putting on a coat.
I can get to that sector faster from here than security can. Monitor the console. I'll be right back.
Sure.
Later turns to the console just until Banner exits. Exterior dirt road same. Banner kicks up a small cloud of dust on a government jeep. He talks to the radio.
Edward, do you read me? He's heading in the direction of the site. I'm not going to be able to get out there in time. Halt the dismantling sequence so there's no outer jacket exposure. Edward?
A pause, then the radio crackles with Later's voice.
Roger that, Dr. Banner. I'll alert control.
Thanks. It's armed.
Oh, well, that skipped a few pages there.
Yeah.
But I guess the thing's armed. Banner scrambles to his feet, races the tower. Rick Jones follows. The gamma bomb resting in the cradle of the test tower, the electronic arm pivots around it with a quiet whir. The quiet tone is clearly audible, and at ever shorter intervals. Banner throws a call box and picks up the receiver.
This is Dr. Banner to control. Come in.
Intercut control room. Later picks up a field phone.
Banner?
Edward, listen to me. Somehow the gadget's armed. The delivery mechanism is in and the countdown running. Get into the program and abort. Repeat, abort now.
Later speaks quietly and calmly.
Absolutely. Hold tight, Dr. Banner.
Exterior test site, same. Rick Jones approaches. Banner motions frantically.
Stay back. This is an extremely... It's live.
Like it's gonna blow? Cut to Later's monitor. 54 seconds. That's seconds and counting. Rick Jones runs, weaving across the wasteland. Banner makes a more efficient line, watching Rick Jones head for a concealment of an arroyo. Banner does the physics and takes the angle, heading Rick off and taking him down onto a shoestring tackle. In the arroyo, Banner and Rick Jones tumbled down end over end in the sand. Banner sits up, spitting dirt and out of breath. Rick comes up, smiling. Nice tackle, Dion. A beat. They breathe hard. In the distance, an electronic pulse sounds faintly. You want to get that?
What?
Isn't that your phone? Banner shakes his head. Beeper? There it is again. Banner looks around in alarm. Behind the butt, previously hidden by the terrain, is the test tower and disarming equipment. Wait, that noise... Banner listens intently.
Shut up.
The pulse tones again.
Oh my God.
Rick looks at the tower. Like weather tower predicting rain? Are you like a meteorologist or something? Banner hangs up and guns the Jeep. Oh, wait. The control panel. Later pulls the connection from the phone block. Banner holding the phone. A click and it's dead. He disconnects and tries to dial again.
Later? Hello? Somebody?
Nothing. Later is gone. Interior hallway, same. Later makes his way past the oblivious technicians and scientists. He comes to a security door plastered with warnings, radiation danger, secured area. He slides an ID card in, banners, and he slips through. Interior storage area continuous. Later moves past hanging radiation suits. He unlocks another safety door and enters the radioactive material storage. Lined up in radioactive safe storage racks, containment cases of Gamadium-282, hollow shell gamma bomb prototypes and parts on another rack. Later uses Banner's keys to unlock the rack. He lifts a small canister of Gamadium-282 and slips it into his coat pocket. He's about to lock the case when he gets greedy. He unlocks the next case and slips another canister out. Then he hears voices approaching. Technicians. He slips behind the door as they pass, dropping the second canister into his pocket. Insert in Later's pocket. The two canisters roll together with a quiet clink. Immediately, there's a flare of green light. The leaded glass canisters crack as they begin to spontaneously fission. On Later, hiding, his radiation shield darkens to green. Later is sweating. Too much. The coast is clear. Later returns to the case and locks it. He turns to the door and stumbles, and he stops, breathing hard. He can't get his balance. Strange. Later happens to glance at his radiation shield. Green. He looks around the room for the radiation exposure when he remembers to check his jacket pocket. Fishes inside. Later's hand comes up with a film of liquid metal and canister shards. Later's in shock. His eyes go wide. He leans heavily against the wall.
Shit.
Without thinking, he rubs his forehead, trying to figure out what to do, smearing the deadly radioactive material all over. Like Brer Rabbit with, whoa, okay, not saying that next thing.
Got to get out of here.
Later's POV. He takes a step towards the door and the room dips like a tilt-a-whirl. The distance to the door stretches through a numbing fog.
Get help.
He stumbles dizzily and reaches for the tabletop for support. Only he's not near the tabletop and he falls down hard. His fingernails are faint green now, contaminated. He laughs to himself and tries to get up. His balance is shot. Disoriented, he tries to move, but can't. He tries to pull the remnants of the canister and gamadium out of his pocket lining, and it tumbles to the floor. He wipes the residue off on his pants.
Well, Eddie, looks like you screwed up again.
His eyes roll back and his mouth goes slack, and he collapses. Cut to interior monitoring room, same. Major Talbot looks at the screens. A camera switches among remotes. Banner is suddenly visible at the test site.
What the hell is Banner doing out there?
A communications officer tries dialing to the remote phone.
The line of the site is dead.
A technician monitoring the procedure.
I've got a sharing violation on the launch site computer Banner's access code.
The realization dawns and the tech turns to the camera.
Someone's initiated the detonation sequence.
General Ross suddenly sits up and pays attention as the room reacts. Things happen fast, overlapping. But the delivery mechanism isn't installed.
Detonation sequence can't engage without it.
Another technician runs a diagnostic.
Diagnostics show delivery mechanism is online and functional.
In English!
The prototype is live, gentlemen, and counting down.
I didn't authorize that!
There's no time to abort.
Someone slams the alarm bells.
Bruce.
Exterior test site, same. Banner runs. The pitch and frequency of the detonation tone increases. The G-bomb races to fulfill its destiny.
We've got to get out of here now.
Where? Banner looks at the Jeep, far in the distance. They'll never make it. He heads the other way.
There's an underground bunker tunnel left over from the 50s. It's shielded with leaded reinforced concrete. Should be enough. Move it, kid.
Rick breaks into a run, following. Long lens on Rick and Banner. Running, but not seeming to get anywhere. Shit, Doc. Are we gonna die?
Run!
Rick Jones trips and falls, turns his ankle. He looks up, Banner receding in the distance. He looks back at the tower. Banner looks back, realizes the kid isn't with him. He stops and sees him. Rick Jones stumbles as he gets up, but a hand is there to help him. Banner. They take as much speed as they can towards the tunnel entrance. An ancient, rusted crank door sets into a concrete block covered by years of shifting sands. Banner tries it, but it won't budge.
Rusted, help me.
Together they try to turn it. Banner kicks at it, and some of the rusted metal flakes away, and they get an inch of turn. Then more and more. Meanwhile, the countdown? 7. 7 seconds. Now we have a pretty good idea that they can't possibly make it in time. The test site tower, visible on the other over their shoulder as they pull the bunker door. With a sheer stroke of luck, the bunker door gives, creaks open, throwing Banner to the ground with the momentum of the pull.
Get in.
Rick climbs down. Banner gets up and takes one tiny glance back at the test tower. Like Lot's wife, that's enough. The counter hits all zeros. The tower vanishes in a flash of light. Boom, baby. The bunker door is thrown shut by the force, with Banner outside. White screen, dissolve into the explosion. Brighter than 1,000 suns. We've never seen one like this. Technicolor, digital effects, state-of-the-art THX versions of these 1950s atomic test films, multiplied by 10,000. It's a 3-stage bomb. An A-bomb trigger compresses the gamadium core to critical mass. Conversion to high-energy neutrons is 100% efficient in Banner's unique design, and these impact on an outer shell of gamadium, causing fusion of the gamadium nuclei, maximizing the explosive yield and the radioactivity. Boom, boom, boom. All in the blink of an eye. The sound builds until it's too much to take. Then sudden silence. In the middle of this, Banner, MOS. Frozen against the brilliant tableau, his radiation shield turns dark green before it fries. This is the kind of blast you expect to see him instantly vaporized by, his shadow burned into the ground beneath him, but instead, by some miracle, the light blasts right through him. The pale green light washes through Banner's body, illuminating every cell and every organ as if he were suddenly transparent. Invisible, yet we're able to see him, if only for the light, like liquid poured into the shape of a man. His face is stretched frozen into a scream, pure agony, but no sound comes out. Not a cell in his body can hide from the radiation pouring through him. Unendurable hell just to watch him twist in slow motion. Down in the bunker, the whole place shakes like a 9.0 earthquake. Rick collapses to the concrete floor and holds his ears. Ground zero. The mushroom leaps through towards the heavens. The wind hits next, picking up dust like a blizzard, driving across the desert and past Banner like a sandblasting machine. Behind him, the fireball, green and yellow as it expands from the blast area and then collapsing back in on itself, deepening in color. Around him, driving winds drive the sands over the now polished green glass ground zero impact point. The glass is spider cracked, looking like veins on a living thing, the surface of the earth. Control room, same. Measuring devices and monitors rock wildly as they record the cataclysmic event. In the storage area, Later lies unconscious. Alarms sound in the corridor. Men race past. One stops as he catches sight of the slack body in the restricted area. In the site monitoring room, scientists are slack-jawed. Ross is awed. Did you see that? How spectacular.
Get a radiation team out there now.
Men race out, passing a scientist entering. We've got a man unconscious in the RL lab and a radiation breach, possibly high-level gamma exposure. Alarms whoop. More men race from the room and follow the scientist. Radiation suits are pulled off racks. Ross watches the screens, the mushroom drifting lazily into the sky.
Bruce.
Cut to ground zero and Banner still screaming in slow motion.
Bruce.
Cut to interior radiation chamber later night. Banner is sweat-slicked and screaming, trying to catch his breath. Leaning over him in full radiation suits are a team of doctors and technicians headed up by Doc Samson, a military doctor and base psychiatrist, his voice muffled by the protective gear.
Can you hear me? Do you know where you are? He's coming out of it.
Dead. Dead. He should be dust.
The tech turns from his equipment with an astonished look.
Radiation readings are down when normal range.
It doesn't make any sense.
Maybe we should ask the resident expert about the effects of gamma radiation.
Samson removes his radiation helmet and glove and takes Banner's pulse.
Samson. Yeah, it's me. How do you feel?
Banner takes stock and it surprises him.
Fine. How? We were kind of hoping you could tell us. What were you doing out there? The kid, it was armed. There was light everywhere, inside me.
Banner looks up at the doctors, remembering everything and realizing.
I was ground zero.
Cut to interior Ross's office day. A strategy session. Ross, General Ross, Doc Samson, and Major Talbot.
No radiation sickness, no sign of burns.
It's impossible. His body must have absorbed the radiation somehow.
Maybe I misjudged him. Maybe that wimp's tougher than I gave him credit for. How's the engineer?
Later was exposed to unfissioned gamadium over a longer period. It's a more classic case of radiation poisoning. He wants to talk.
Interior Later's hospital room day. Samson bends over a pale-looking Later with a pen light and raises his eyelid.
Later, can you hear us?
Later's eyes snap open. And did we see a tiny flash of green light in his contracting pupil? Later sits up.
General.
Do you remember what happened?
We found you unconscious in radiation storage.
Later's groggy, but his mind is still working as he sizes up the situation.
I remember something was wrong. One of the delivery systems was missing. I followed him. He was stealing gamadium. Oh yeah, gamadium. Okay, he hit me. I must have passed out.
Who? Later draws this out for maximum effect.
Banner, he was acting crazy. He said he had to prove his theories. I tried to stop him. He was going to kill me.
Later watches their reactions. Interior hallway continuous. They walk from Leader's room. Ross turns to Doc Samson.
We don't know Banner's responsible.
Who else? He had something to prove.
I know him. He wouldn't.
Banner's access codes were logged into the launch computer.
Talbot hands Ross a computer printout, and he reads. Banner's funding is pulled before he was able to test his baby, and it happens to go off anyway. His own country wasn't going to pursue it, so he decided to find someone who would.
All the monitoring equipment was online.
Ross puts the inevitable together and wishes she hadn't.
And now that he's proven his theories, the technology is marketable.
General Ross has genuine admiration for Banner's efforts. I gotta give him credit. That was some blast. And he said it wasn't ready yet. This will show those clowns in Washington. But it doesn't change the fact that Banner broke the law. Never trusted him.
Who's the kid?
Cut 2. Okay, no, but what am I doing here? Interior interrogation room. Rick faces Major Talbot, and the general paces in the background. Rick folds his arms defiantly. Wait, so what are you doing here? Building secret weapons. I bet 60 Minutes would love to find out about you guys. Don't get smart with me.
You were trespassing in a restricted area.
Restricted? How do you own the desert, the mountains, the air? Ross smiles at the logic and reads the computer printout.
Richard Jones, auto theft, burglary, receiving stolen merchandise, 18 months Colorado State Reformatory, where you should still be if this is right. Quite a career you're building for yourself.
Don't bother calling my parents. They won't care.
We have no intention of calling your parents.
Rick, we can't help you if you don't help us.
Look, I told you, I don't know a thing. I was driving through, I saw a shortcut on the map, and I figured I'd do a Jim Morrison. You know, camp out under the stars. Do you respect your country, son? Not really. You know, Vietnam, Watergate, Attica. The general grabs the kid by the collar. You snot sleeve. You weren't even born then. What's your arrangement with Banner? Who are you working for? I think I want a lawyer. Interior isolation cell day. Talbot tosses Rick back by the scruff of his neck. Hey, ouch! General Ross turns his interest to Banner. Ross watches him from the sideline. How you feeling, Doc?
All right.
Rick watches, looks to Banner for a clue on how to act, and gets none. But we're both fine. I'd like to check out. The general ignores Rick. Little accident out there today.
What happened? Why was the bomb armed?
Something must have gone wrong, huh? You were probably supposed to be long gone, weren't you? Banner's clueless. The general is through playing chess. Don't play dumb, Doctor. You all know how smart you are. Hell, you're the smartest person on the base, aren't you? Banner says nothing. Rick Jones listens intently. The general gets in Banner's face. But you outsmarted yourself this time. And to prove you knew it all. That's all history is going to remember you for. You're just going to be the guy who tried to sell a bomb to the bad guys. You're a spy. That's treason, Doctor. You're a traitor. Rick Jones' eyes go wide. Banner is just as surprised.
No, I didn't.
Wait, don't they execute people for that?
Who are you working for? Tell us now and we can try to control the damage.
Banner can't believe this. He locks eyes with Ross. Well, at least tell him I'm not involved.
Why didn't later stop the countdown?
We found later unconscious in radiation storage, where you left him.
Where I?
When you want to stop playing games, Doctor? Banner turns to Ross.
Ross, you know me. I would never.
You used my name for your access code.
Ross holds the computer printout Major Talbot gave her.
Bad Betty, you named a bomb after me? I don't know whether to be flattered or insulted.
Banner is ashamed and embarrassed.
You flattered. I didn't initiate the detonation sequence.
I want to believe you, but what I know and what I can prove are two different things. Help me.
I don't know how.
Banner is confused and helpless. The general, Talbot, and Ross exit. Hey, why didn't you tell him you never saw me before in your life? I didn't tell him nothing about you, Doc. Nothing.
It's because you don't know anything.
Time cut. Interior, Later's hospital room, day. Later writes in a notebook his unsolvable equation from earlier. He writes more, extending the equation unhesitatingly. His handwriting is different, sure and graceful, not like the previous unsure chicken scratchings. Confidently and simply, the formula is solved. Later underlines the answer and lets out a curious laugh.
Of course, it's right there. What was wrong with me that I couldn't figure it out before? Was I a moron? An insect? It's child's play.
A nurse carries a pile of medical and scientific texts to Later's bedside and to join a stack of others. Doc Samson follows her in. Later closes his notebook.
The books you requested?
Samson examines the textbooks with curiosity.
Radiation effects and cellular development, subatomic structural mutation. Odd choices for an electrical engineer.
I almost died. I'm curious what happened.
Samson nods, turns away to inspect Later's chart, and Later pages through a good part of dense text at an impossible rate of speed. Samson turns back, and Later pretends to be reading at a normal pace. He smiles.
Though I'm feeling much better now.
Interior isolation cell day. Banner sits on a bunk, keeping to himself, jotting down calculations on the corner of his shirt, trying to make sense of what happened. Rick paces, pissed off.
What's your name, kid?
Rick Jones. Look, Doc, I'm sorry. I didn't even thank you. You saved my life. You didn't even know me. Look, nobody's ever done anything like that for me before. Banner manages a smile, something that seems familiar in the kid.
Sorry about all this, Rick.
Wait, so how long do you figure they're going to keep us here?
You have an appointment?
Well, I was on my way to Vegas to see a girl. How about you? You got a girlfriend?
How old are you?
16?
When I was your age, I was working on my master's thesis in particle physics at MIT.
Yeah, sounds fascinating, Doc. I mean, really. I bet you have to fight off the girls when you tell them all about that. Hey, I saw the way you were, looking at that government chick. The same scene in black and white video.
She's just an old friend.
Interior security room. Rick and Banner under surveillance on video. 2 officers monitor the console as Ross approaches.
Nothing yet.
Interior isolation room later. Banner tries to sleep. Rick paces. He kicks a trash can across the room and the noise jars Banner awake. This blows. We're being framed, We're history. No one's ever going to hear from us again. Rick Jones? Oh, he vanished last year in the desert. No one's even seen or heard from him since. Rick makes a Twilight Zone sound effect.
Look, I'm sorry about all this.
You're sorry? Look, stop apologizing. Look, you didn't do anything besides save my life, right? You're getting screwed on this deal, too.
But it's my fault. I built that bomb. I wish I knew what went wrong.
Rick looks at an angry yell.
What are you doing?
Yelling? I'm pissed.
That won't help anything.
It'll help me. Look, I feel better already. Try it. You're pissed off, too. You just don't know it. Banner shakes his head, controlled.
I've got to think this through. The bomb was armed. Later couldn't stop the countdown but that was after.
A stab of pain lances through Banner's skull, as if thinking just got very painful. He continues. His growing anger has strange, irrational edge to it that gets Rick's attention.
Yeah, I should have known. If I had, they'd leave me alone. If it wasn't all my fault.
Banner's ranting now, his tone escalating, like a pressure cooker about to blow. Hey, calm down. I'm just blowing off steam, talking.
Everyone's always talking, but no one ever says anything. All the problems in the world today, and you know who's responsible? People.
Rick lets out a nervous laugh. Hey, that's good. Banner's dead serious, growing more irrational. Banner doubles over in pain, but it's not the ulcer. Are you okay? You can have a heart attack. Just relax.
Relax. Relax. It's my fault. I should have known.
Banner stands, hyperventilating. Wait, no, Doc, it's my fault. If I hadn't been there. Banner is arcing wildly now. He slams his fist into the wall. When he turns away, there's an imprint where his fist hit, in solid metal. Holy, but taking vitamins? Humor's a weak attempt. Something's very wrong. Banner is sweating, pale, his eyes hollow and far away. He suddenly looks like a radiation victim. He runs his hand through his hair and a clump comes out in his hand.
What's happening?
Maybe you should lie down. Hey, I'll call a doctor.
I am a doctor. I'm a doctor. I should know what to do. Leave me alone.
The last word comes out deeper, like echoing up from a deep cave, guttural, enraged. The lights in the room flicker without warning, as if some electrical interference is shorting them out. An electrical panel shorts. In the surveillance room, the monitors glitch with static. Technicians turn.
What's going on in there?
Jesus. A momentary normal image, Banner screaming, then a violent static mirroring Banner's pain on the EEG.
Some sort of
Some
power surge. Oh, sorry.
That's me, god damn you.
Jesus
Some
Christ.
sort of a power surge. Call security.
In the isolation cell, darkness. The flickering overhead electrical lights fights the mysterious interference. Radiation sensing equipment against the wall starts beating out a crazy staccato drumbeat. Rick Jones watches where Banner was standing in a strobing, changing shadow. Banner's voice screaming, then changing, hoarser.
Oh, God help!
Rick watches in terror, but it's too dark to see clearly. Suddenly, a metal frame bed flies across the room like a toy, shattering everything in its path. Rick dodges the destruction. Holy shit. Now the roar of something that sounds more like an animal than human is surrounding us. The sound of twisting metal, smashing masonry like a wrecking ball taking a building down. Exterior Army Base Hospital, night. Suddenly, the side of a building blows outward with the force of a small bomb. Cement and steel rupture as something pushes through. It's dark. All we can see is an arm. Massive. In the darkness, there's no color to it, just gray. It could be a corpse's hand, but it's too powerful for that. What's clear is that it doesn't have a normal human pallor. The hand finds purchase on the side of the building and pushes. Terrifying, there must be a body attached to this hand, but we can't see. The fingers dig into the steel and concrete building as if it's a sand castle, crumbling and deforming. There's nothing coordinated or calculated about it, just power. Raw, unincomprehensible power that we usually associate with the force of nature. Then, a huge, hulking shadow attaches itself from the side of the building as if deconstructing itself. The shape moves through the darkness, avoiding the light we'd like to see it in. Like a car accident. You're horrified, but you want to slow down to see more. After it, Rick steps through a gaping hole. Solid weird. He ducks into a shadow as a pair of MPs walk by. Between buildings, the shape seems to be searching for something. Interior, Later's room, same. Later paces. His feet brushing the fallout from his thinning hair. An earthquake-like rumble. Later turns. The wall shakes, then begins to crumble. Massive green hands tear through reinforced concrete. Later retreats into the face of the unknown. Through an opening in the wall, a pair of eyes. Flecked with green. Set back in deep shadow, glowing from some angry place. Concrete continuing to crumble, a primal roar echoes through the room. Later falls back, holding his ears, preparing to meet this demon. Outside, a group of security officers double time in the commotion. Ross steps up behind.
What's going on?
A disturbance of some kind.
They round the corner and come upon a building in mid-destruction. There are field lights in the distance, making the large shape of a featureless silhouette. Reverse POV, Ross. The lights illuminate her face, and the silhouette stops at the side of her. It's hard to read the blackness, but it seems to be staring. Reinforcements round the corner with flashlights, and as the lights hit him, the figure covers his face. Another roar that sounds vaguely like no. Torn clothing covers the huge arm that hides a clear look at this monstrosity.
Did you see that?
Nope. The previous line, Travis.
Oh, I didn't see that. Hold it.
There you go. The figure ducks around the corner in the shadow. Talbot follows and aims. The earth shakes for an instant, and the figure is gone. He lowers the gun.
Did you see that?
Major Talbot turns to Ross.
Was that a man?
Ross has no answer. An MP reports to Talbot.
Major Talbot, Banner and the boy. They're gone.
Ross, Talbot, and the rest of them are off in that direction. Camera moves in on later, staring at wonder at the departing disturbance.
Incredible.
Exterior base, same. The general in his bathrobe on the porch, gun in hand. What the hell is up? He stops, stares at the huge figure approaching in the shadows, nearly 7 feet tall. The general raises his sidearm. Hold her right there. The whoop of sirens. Field lights flick on across the base. A patch of lights hit the great figure. The skin is a gray-green, battle-fatigued dinosaur color, not flesh. Get your hands up. Who are you? The giant roars. It sounds like thunder, and keeps walking. The general fires. The huge figure keeps coming, and the general dives back inside as one swing of a massive arm takes out the porch supports, raining debris down around him. From the barracks, running past soldiers in the distance, an electrified security fence appears to the rear to tear itself from the ground. A shadow passes over it. Beyond it, another fence goes down. A wall explodes behind an irresistible force. The speed of which these barricades come down suggests something moving faster than we can believe. It's heading out into the desert night and clearly gone, or nearly gone. Back at the busted lab building, a searchlight from the security tower finally gets a beam trained on the carnage. Rick Jones shields his eyes. The base is a fury of activity, sirens and lights, and he sees his motorcycle in the motor pool across the street and makes his move. He breaks into a dead run for it. Behind him, soldiers. In front of him, an unsuspecting guard. Rick leaps into him, element of surprise, and takes him down and keeps rolling. A soldier enters in front of the motor pool. In one swift motion, Rick kicks the soldier square in the chest and at the same time vaults onto the bike. Come on, baby, don't be fickle on me now. It turns over on the first kick, and Rick smiles. He guns the bike and roars off like the Lone Ranger, following the trail of destruction out of the endless desert night. Interior, General Ross's office, night. The general storms in to Ross, Talbot, and Doc Samson. What in perdition is going on around here? I reports a green man, not little tiny ones for Christ's sake, but a big giant one.
There might be some sort of mass hysteria among the men, perhaps a conversion response, psychological trauma from the blast.
God damn, I saw it, Samson.
It could have been a diversion, General. Banner's gone.
Gone? Escaped. He just vanished from a high-security military base. Jesus H. Christmas. Maybe we should call in the friggin' army. As an MP knocks, hands a VHS tape to Talbot, who pops it into the VCR.
This is the surveillance tapes of Banner's cell just before.
On the TV, in black and white, complete with interference and dropout, there's no way to see a thing. What's this garbage?
We can't make it out.
It's an electromagnetic disruption caused by gamma rays.
Later is standing at the door.
Another application of Banner's research.
Later.
Feeling 1,000% better, General. Thank you.
And he looks it. His eyes bright, skin clear and clean. But something is different. It's subtle. The cadence of his speech, the rhythm, like a much more intelligent man. But that's impossible, isn't it?
We all thought of the gamma bomb as merely an outdated weapon of mass destruction, but Banner saw the seeds of technology with application in everything from advanced communications to medical research. The bomb was just the key to unlock the door. It's so clear, the possibilities.
Later is lost in an intellectual fugue. He snaps out of his reverie with a decision.
His work must be allowed to continue.
I'm glad you're well, but we have a more pressing problem.
I understand. A shame about Banner.
Awash in sincerity, later exits. The general turns angrily to the remaining brain trust. Washington doesn't hear about this until I say so. Tension between the general and his daughter.
That's my call. For the moment, I agree, until we know what's going on.
Banner bought the farm this time. I don't care who's behind him or what that infernal thing was. Exterior, desert day. A Chuckwalla lizard crosses the hot sand, stepping over a human hand. Banner lies on his back, eyes closed, snoring. His army-issue hospital pajamas stretched and torn, barely hanging on thanks to the elastic waistband. Hey, Doc, wake up. Banner opens his eyes. Rick is leaning over him.
What? Where?
Rick stares down at him. A moment, then... Come on, get up. They're probably looking for us. Banner looks around. They're in the middle of nowhere, a beautiful desert sunrise.
How did I get here?
Well, you really have no idea? Look, get on the bike.
We've got to get back to the base.
Mm-mm. That is where we came from. We are going to Vegas.
Which way's the base?
Oh, you can't miss it. About 100 miles that away.
100 miles.
Look, IOU and Rick Jones always gives proper change, but I am not going back there so they can send me back to reform school or worse. Rick gets on the bike and rummages in the side bag for a spare jacket and shirt, which he tosses to Banner. Hey, put these on. Banner catches them and now notices his own torn clothing. He looks down at his shoes, split along the seams, toes visible. Something's wrong with this picture.
What happened to my clothes?
Banner kickstarts the bike, then pats the seat behind him encouragingly. That, Doc, is the best question I've heard in a long time. The bike roars off. Bright light city gonna set my soul on fire. Cut to exterior Las Vegas establishing. Neon in the daytime, hotel tower, city of sin, sleaze, and corruption, where for a price, every fantasy can. I'm sorry, excuse me. Las Vegas, family fun vacation mecca. Interior Las Vegas Police Department, squad room day. Ross and Talbot are introduced to a room full of cops by Captain Siegel.
Listen up. This is Major Talbot of the United States Army and Agent Ross of the FBI. Thank you, Captain. We're looking for a fugitive, a Dr. Bruce Banner, a nuclear physicist. He was last seen at Los Osos military base.
Talbot circulates a photo of Banner.
He's wanted in connection with the national security violations.
Is he armed?
You may assume so. Banner is a desperate, resourceful man. He should be approached with extreme caution.
Cut to exterior Las Vegas downtown day, where Dad doesn't want to bring the wife and kids. Rick and Banner on a bike. Exterior Vegas street day. A neon sunset, Banner and Rick walk. Look, Doc, I am not shitting you. I don't even know you. It was like instant steroids. You grew a couple of feet and got real ugly real fast. You were like this giant, big Hulk. You really don't remember? Look, if you still don't believe me, you can call him and come get you after I get set up, okay? You owe me that. Anyway, Marlo's great. You'll like her. Interior Diamond Lounge, same. A low-rent piano bar. Banner's never been in a place like this. He goes to the bartender. I'm looking for Marlo Chandler.
She's next, kid. No booze.
You'll like this. She's great. Banner and Rick sit at a table as Marlo Chandler makes her appearance, singing a Nina Simone type arrangement of Don't Let Me Be Misunderstood. Ain't she something? Yes. If it's possible to do something classy in this setting, Marlo does it. Slow and sexy, hair and clothing like a 50s pinup. Moves are all 90s. Banner is embarrassed, agitated, stimulated, and awkward. Behind them, a couple of loud Vegas cowboys wolf whistle. Rick turns around in disgust and eyes them. She's too classy for that, but what do you expect from this setting?
I understand you, baby.
Rick stands up fiercely and turns around. Hey, show some respect. The lady's trying to sing.
Hey, down in front. Forget it, Rick.
But the cowboys continue, answering to the song.
My intentions ain't good.
Rick stands again. Hey, shut up, pencil dick. The cowboys don't like this.
Don't hurt yourself, kid. It's past your bedtime.
Yeah, she ain't worth it.
A laugh filled with bad teeth. Banner watches Marlo weave her spell. She's good. She's sexy. These cowboy idiots are ruining it for all of us. Can't we get these morons to shut up? Banner gathers himself and turns around.
Why don't you gentlemen keep it down so the rest of us can enjoy the show?
The cowboys look at each other. Without getting up, one of the cowboys raises a leg and kicks Banner square in the stomach, sending him sprawling over a chair. Rick races to him. Wait, Doc, you okay? Banner's never been hit like that. He struggles to catch his breath. The bouncer comes over to address the cowboys. What's the problem here, Dirk?
Guy's drunk, trying to pick up a fight.
He's crazy.
That's a lie.
Kid don't belong here neither.
I'm gonna have to ask you to leave. Us? The cowboys share a laugh.
But these two were being rude.
Ha, we were?
The bouncer puts Banner in a come-along hold and walks him towards the door.
You're making a mistake.
Exterior Diamond Lounge, same. The bouncer propels Banner uncomfortably into the street. Rick Jones follows and helps Banner up.
That was wrong.
Locals only, I guess. Rick's hand is around Banner's arm, which suddenly feels thicker. Uh-oh. Doc?
No, that was wrong.
Banner turns angrily back to the door. I thought I told you to... The bouncer spins Banner around, grabs him in a half Nelson control hold. Banner's arm is pinned behind his back. The bouncer takes Banner down to the ground. Now don't get all excited, buddy. Banner on the ground, in pain, blood pounding in his ears. His heartbeat begins to quicken. We can hear it. Above their heads, the neon light signs flickers and explode. Street lights blink and crackle. Under Banner's clothes, something begins to change, like hydraulics bunching and expanding, but organic. All 300 pounds of the bouncer's weight can't hold the arm lock in place anymore. The Banner's arm tears through his clothing. Jeez, what are you... Banner's skin isn't pink anymore. It's that sallow grayish green we saw at the base. With a guttural roar that doesn't sound much like Banner anymore, he throws the bouncer off easily, skipping him like a stone across the street. Even in the darkness, it's obvious that what rolls over isn't Dr. Bruce Banner anymore. The face is coarser, cruder than what we associate with human, a throwback perhaps, a mutation, a monster. The Hulk. Interior Diamond Lounge, same. The door frame splinters as the Hulk comes through. Close to 7 feet tall and massive. The overwhelming feeling of being in the presence of power. This is no pretty boy bodybuilder. This is ugly, green, and mean. Marlo gamely tries to continue as patrons scatter. The Hulk explodes through tables towards the startled cowboys. One hand is enough to jerk the first hapless cowboy out of his chair. Almost casually, the Hulk shakes the cowboy like a chicken farmer preparing dinner, then tosses him across the bar, taking out drinks and drinkers like a cannon shot. When he hits hard. With a speed that belies his appearance, Hulk treats the tables and patrons like stairs as he pursues the second retreating cowboy across the stage. Glasses shatter and pop like candy. Hulk tears curtains down in pursuit. The cowboy grabs the mic stand away from Marlo and swings for the bleachers. It clangs and bends double against the back of the Hulk's massive head. The Hulk grabs the cowboy and throws him, helicopter style, across the bar. The bartender ducks and comes up with a shotgun. The Hulk stops and stands in front of Marlo. She backs away and he stops her, grabs her by the shoulders, each huge hand wrapped halfway around her back. The strength held in reserve is terrifying, but he's gentle. He lifts her, pulls her close, his fetid breath pumping on her face, examining her. Marlo is terrified, but you wouldn't know it unless I told you. She's a tough girl. The bartender advances with a shotgun leveled at the Hulk, but there's no clear shot past Marlo. The Hulk looks at her, searching some dim human memory for recognition. A frozen moment. The whole tableau. The Hulk seems to vaguely shake his thick head and release her. A toy he's no longer interested in. One hint, she's not Betty. Marlo slumps into Rick's waiting arms.
All right, freak.
The Hulk turns towards him almost casually, and the bartender lets go with both barrels. What's left of Rick's old shirt perforates as the Hulk's chest darkens with powder and shot. The Hulk takes a half step backwards with the force, but that's about it. He roars with disapproval. Everyone covers their ears from the force of the sound as they scramble to escape. The Hulk grabs the piano and lazily tosses it across the lounge. It splinters against the wall and the bartender collapses in terror. The Hulk exits through the fire door. His shoulder takes out a chunk of the door frame. The fire alarm whoops loudly. Rick turns to Marlo. Marlo?
Rick Jones? What are you doing here? Did you see that?
I came to see you, baby. You were great. Marlo smiles. She's a couple years older than Rick, but what he lacks in age, he makes up for in attitude. Off screen, the screech of tires and brakes, followed by the unmistakable crash of cars. Here, come on, I gotta help out a friend. Sirens in the distance. Rick grabs Marlo's hand and heads out of the back the same direction as the Hulk. Exterior Las Vegas City Street night. A multiple car crash scene and growing throng of confused onlookers overlapping.
What the hell happened? Gorilla escaped from a circus act? Crazy jerk.
Rick follows the noise. No sign of the Hulk. He races down a blind alley. Rick searches behind dumpsters in shadowed corners. Scary, ominous. A faint heartbeat thumps in the underscore. They expect something to jump out at any moment. And it does. Banner, looking raw, lurching into the darkened doorway, almost collapsing on Rick, startling the hell out of Marlo. What, Doc, are you okay? Banner's so weak he can barely talk. Look, I gotta get him out of here.
Where?
Your place. Banner leads Rick away from the commotion as police cars arrive on the scene. Banner catches a glimpse of the bartender being wheeled off in an ambulance. He passes. Ross and Major Talbot. The camera stays with them, climbing out of an unmarked car. Captain Siegel collars the bartender.
He saw you, guy. He was with a kid in the lounge just before that crazy guy went nuts and tore up the place.
Banner?
No, this guy was big. Giant, and his skin was weird.
Was it green?
Yeah, pretty much.
We got reports of a circus animal running loose. A bear, a monkey, or something. Probably painted green for a show or something.
Ross and Talbot don't think so and share a look. Cut to interior hotel suite day. Ritzy Vegas. Sun sets over a killer view as Marlo lets Banner and Rick in. Wow. First class. Rick lowers Banner onto the couch. Wait, so how you feeling?
Hungry. What happened?
You did the monster mash again, Doc.
I hurt people.
Well, no one could have seen it coming. Or no one who didn't have it coming anyway. Marlo comes over. Marlo?
I am not Marlo.
Are you all right?
Hey, Doc, I'd like you to meet a friend of mine. Marlo Chandler. This is Doc. He's a subatomic psychic.
Physicist.
Probably the smartest guy you'll ever meet. Maybe the smartest guy in the whole world, right, Doc?
Pleased to meet you.
You have a wonderful voice, Miss Chandler.
Thank you. Though I guess I wasn't the headliner tonight.
Look, Marlo, we're in a little trouble.
What's new?
And I'm a little,
Short on cash, of course.
she's seen it all. But Rick loves every minute of her toughness. He grins.
Okay, you can sack out here tonight on one condition. You don't tell me what kind of trouble it is this time, Rick, because if I don't know, I can't get dragged into it.
Rick smiles and shakes his head, continually awed by Marlo. Is she great or what? Marlo opens a closet and hands Banner a men's suit.
I think this'll fit.
Rick doesn't like the implication. Whose is it?
A friend's. This is his place.
His? Rick throws Marlo some jealous tension, but he's just a kid to her.
Can I use the phone?
Sure.
Banner dials. Rick and Marlo argue in the background, overlapping.
Rick Jones, you are 16 years old.
So you're only 17.
But I'm a mature woman with possibilities. I can take care of myself.
Who's the guy, Marlo? Another loser?
Hello? Betty Ross, please.
Cut to interior police station night. End of a long day. Ross at a temporary desk going over the pictures of the damage today.
Routing a call from Los Osos for Agent Ross.
Ross picks up the phone. She's tired.
Agent Ross.
Intercut. Banner and Betty.
Betty,
Bruce, where are you?
you've got to trust me.
I'd like to, but if you're innocent, why'd you run?
I didn't mean to.
What does that mean? Where are you? I'll come get you.
I've got to get to a lab, run some tests, figure this out.
Banner, the army has questions.
Banner picked up a matchbook from the ashtray.
Meet me tomorrow morning, early at the Universal Casino, the D'Angelo room, alone.
He hangs up, unsatisfying to both.
Be careful.
As Talbot returns with 2 coffees and Betty takes it without any mention of the phone call. Cut to Interior Gamma Lab night. Discarded science texts on every surface. Chalkboards fill the room covered with figures, like we expect from Banner, but by a factor of 10. Indecipherable. Where there's no more room, the writing continues onto the walls. The hand moves as fast as thought, stringing out alphanumerics, signs, symbols, and numbers. The chalk breaks. Screech! The fingers take a moment to register and finally stop. Still moving, twitching. Camera moves in on later. He looks tired, like a speed freak at the end of a binge. His skin is sallow. Strangely, his clothing seems baggy and his forehead looks imperceptibly longer. He turns from the blackboard and grasps his cramped writing hand with the other. He holds it in pain. The fingers are raw and torn, but there's more, so much more. He can't stop the flow, the torrent of ideas pouring from his unharnessed brain. He holds his head, the pressure, another headache. His temples throb.
Banner was an idiot. He didn't see the possibilities of his work.
In his moment of revelation, a sudden piercing headache doubles him over. He stumbles from his chair and crashes to the floor, hands clutching his throbbing temples. When he looks up, his skin seems a shade more translucent, his green-flecked eyes a little more sunken and hollow. Was that green-flecked? His headache jabs a lightning thrust. He screams and lunges for the bathroom door. In the bathroom, later grabs a large aspirin bottle and crams a fistful into his mouth like M&Ms. It doesn't do much. Maybe the razor's edge is off the pain.
This requires context and vision.
He sits at the computer terminal to work. Cut to interior Marlo's sweet night. A room service cart wheels in. Banner moves from the scavenged tray to the new order. The waiter lifts the cover to reveal a plate piled high with steaks. Rick signs for it. Banner starts in. No sign of an ulcer. Rick channel surfs the TV. Yeah. Right. Do you believe that crap? Rick sees Marlo. Wow.
I'm going out.
Oh. Rick's face falls.
You've got to be out of here by tomorrow, Rick. I'm sorry. I mean it.
But she's gone. On the TV, back to the anchor desk and two shiny-faced newscasters.
And is there a monster on the loose in Las Vegas? Sorry, I read the man.
Okay. Is there a monster on the loose in Las Vegas, Tridia?
Well, Kevin, a lot of people seem to think that so after someone or something apparently went berserk in a downtown nightclub.
On video, a parade of witnesses prove the unreliability of eyewitness testimony.
It was a giant green monster all covered with hair, 30 feet tall.
And we wouldn't heed its warning, so he went back to Zarnon in another galaxy. A dinosaur like that movie, 20 feet high.
If he were white, they'd paint a big S on his chest and call him Superman. But it's a green man, so go Knicks.
Banner takes the remote and turns the TV off.
There's a university lab near here that will have the facilities I need. Thank you for your help, Miss Chandler. We won't endanger you further, will we, Rick?
Cut to a smash of glass. Interior university lab night. Rick climbs in and opens the broken window, talking. Well, she didn't mean that. She's just shy, that's it. Like you. You got the hots for that Agent Ross, and you won't admit it. Banner follows in and looks around. Biophysics lab. Jeez, I busted in tougher places than this. You sure they got what you need? Banner throws a covering back from an electron microscope.
I hope so.
But meager compared to what Letter is working with. Cut to a convoy of supply trucks. Exterior Los Ojos night. They rumble down Los Ojos' main street. The general strides from his office, cigar in mouth, and flags down the lead truck. Hold it. Hey, what's going on here? The driver shows a clipboard with papers.
Where's the Gamma facility?
Gamma. It's closed. Who requisitioned this?
I did.
Letter strides across the street, his jacket flapping, loose in scarecrow life. He coughs heavy, looks frail.
It's been reopened.
Without funding?
Presented probably. The National Security Council saw things in a new light. I made an impressive case for the peacetime applications of gamma technology, communication technology, healthcare, even law enforcement. I'm running this as a defense conversation. It will be a cooperative venture with private industry, and soon we'll even be turning a profit, putting this whole town to work.
General smiles, impressed by the verbiage. It's about time someone around here showed some initiative.
When you stare death in the face, General, you're reevaluated your life. With Banner turning out to be a spy, well, it made me sick. I felt somehow responsible.
Later is saying all of the right things.
Mm.
We'll get Banner. You just keep serving your country.
I'm no soldier, but I'll do my part.
Later salutes and motions the convoy back to exterior Gamma Lab night. Down a ramp into a huge hangar area, soldiers unload the equipment under the direction of technicians. The last truck drives up, and Gus and Mary get out.
Good to see you.
This all looks pretty official. Brings back memories.
Oh, it's official. My situation has changed since our last conversation. I need people I can trust.
Hey, you know us.
Did you bring the supplies I requested?
Mary pulls a flap on the cargo hold back. I think you forgot that's also you, Travis.
Oh, yes. The best money can buy.
Inside, 2 rows of the baddest, meanest-looking mercenaries we've seen.
I rounded up all the usual suspects. What's the deal?
I decided that rather than sell the store, I might try running it myself.
Hell, it's your dime, boss. When I saw that government check,
Leader will be fine, and it's your dime. You're a taxpayer, aren't you?
Gus smiles and then laughs. Later, stays real cool. He's got Gus figured just right. He's got everyone figured. And now the lunatics are running the asylum. Cut to interior hotel restaurant night. Ross and Major Talbot share a casino dinner. Talbot checks his Keno card.
Damn, lost again. Do you think Banner's linked this green monster? Maybe it's something he built in the lab,
He's a physicist, not Dr. Frankenstein.
and you think he's innocent?
How can you be so sure he's guilty?
Because all the evidence points to him for starters.
You don't like him.
Honestly, Agent Ross, no.
Why? Because he's smart? What is it with you jocks? Why are you always threatened by intelligent men?
I had a well-adjusted childhood. I had a good time at my prom. Yes, I was captain of the football team. I graduated #1 in my class at West Point. I'm supposed to feel guilty because of this?
You're right. I'm sorry.
What do you have against me?
You're a winker, Major. You know, the kind of guy who lets you know you're his friend with a wink. Hey,
I'm a winker?
and a wanker, that's my take.
I think you don't like me because your father does.
Talbot looks self-satisfied.
Just like he doesn't like Banner. But that wouldn't have anything to do with your fond regard for him, would it?
You know anything about Banner's childhood, Major? Do you know his father was an alcoholic who couldn't hold a job? A classic abuser. Banner's mother died in a domestic dispute which he witnessed at age 9.
I'm aware of all this, so what, we just excuse him? It's all right, spy on your country, sell secrets, break the law. You had a tough childhood, I don't buy that.
Neither do I. I'm just trying to understand him.
So am I. You read Doc Samson's file, Banner's control freak. He turned off his emotions in the name of science and threw himself into his work. Any Bruce Banner would resemble a human being with human emotions died a long time ago.
Perfect for military use. Just add funding.
Maybe, but Los Osos gave him a life.
If it's supposed to make us hate Banner, it has the opposite effect. We feel sorry.
Exactly. Just like that. He throws it all away.
These are 2 intelligent people.
And worst of all, the general's daughter likes him.
Talbot has a sense of humor. He flashes a charming grin.
Right, this instant, that is the worst of all.
Talbot checks his Keno card again. Another loser.
Look at that, I just can't win.
Talbot gets a smile out of her. He finishes his glass.
So I'm gonna get some sleep. Don't let your bias interfere with your job, Agent Ross.
Kids don't have a lot of choice in their life, Major. My father was transferred when I was 7. I didn't see Banner again till last week. If he's guilty, I'll do my job. But if he's not, I'm a grown-up and I get to make my own choices now.
Talbot smiles and winks.
Deal.
Not winking. Okay. Leaving her smiling. Cut to interior university lab dawn. Banner is deep in it. Rick climbs in the window carrying a box. I found one, Doc. What you asked for? Banner looks up with serious intent. Extra meat. Rick opens the pizza box proudly. Banner folds a slice, takes a bite, and returns to work. So how's it going?
Doesn't make sense. My blood seems normal in every respect.
He takes a pin and pokes a finger and then not already covered by a band-aid. Greases a slide with a drop of blood and slides a coverlet over it. He centers it on the electron microscope guide. He motions Rick over.
Take a look.
Oh, I wasn't much for school.
Never too late to start, son.
Rick smiles back and takes a look. Angle through the microscope. Blood. Looks normal to us. Yeah, it looks okay.
It is. I took over 10,000 rays of gamma radiation, but there's no cerebral edema, no neurological disturbance, no loss of fluid or electrolytes into intercellular spaces, no depressed white count, none of the signs of radiation poisoning which should be there. I think my ulcer cleared up. No organism could recover from that much radiation.
Maybe you're tougher than you thought, Doc. Probably easier to draw your blood than the big guys. You know, when you, there's a light bulb for Banner.
That's it. You're better at this school stuff than you thought.
Yeah? What'd I say?
What triggers the change?
When you get pissed off. Banner is moving now, on a creative jag.
Anger, fear, fight or flight, emotion, metabolic effects, elevated blood pressure, restricted flow, adrenaline.
Banner goes for a drug cabinet and finds what he's searching for. A small vial. Taps it.
Here we go. Human adrenaline from cadavers.
Banner flips a tiny vise into place over the slide. He tightens the calibration to hold the slide in place, clamping it over the coverlet. He takes a titration from the vial and drips it into the edge of the coverlet, watching it through the microscope as he does. Under the microscope, regular blood platelets swimming through the plasma. From the edge where the adrenaline is introduced, coalescing, seeming to appear out of nowhere, large green masses, gamma-radiated cells. The corpuscles squeeze as the now green white cells expand and swell violently.
My God.
The blood cells swell and strain against the glass. Suddenly, the slide cracks and shatters. Banner jumps back, breathing heavy. Wait, Doc, relax. What is it?
Adrenaline triggers the change.
Deep breaths, come on. Banner tries to fight it.
When I get excited, he comes out. I was completely irradiated. The potential energy of that bomb blast was stored up in the nucleus of every cell, every atom of my body. Any excitement, any emotion triggers a jump in the subatomic level, releasing the stored energy. I've become a kind of battery. Every second, my cells are building up gamma energy, and as I almost just demonstrated again, it's taking less and less to trip the change.
Like an H-bomb with a hair trigger.
And unless I can find a cure, Dr. Bruce Banner may become extinct.
Well, you'll think of something. But you always got straight A's. You'll figure this out. Banner's look is anything but optimistic. He takes an envelope from his pocket and hands it to Rick.
If something happens to me, Rick, I want you to make sure that Betty Ross gets this.
But sure, Doc, but nothing's going to happen to you. The door is thrown open. The two campus cops bust in with a ponytailed Professor Krieg. I knew I heard noises. What are you doing in my lab? Oh, you're Dr. Banner. Your paper on electromagnetic destabilization of the binding energy of organic atoms was brilliant.
That's that spy they're looking for.
Oh.
Call the real cops, Jerry. No, nobody move.
The first cop races from the room. The cop draws his gun and gets real nervous. Look, you don't understand.
Get back, hands in the air.
Stay cool, mister. Please, look, he's sick. The cop swings the gun towards Rick. Rick looks at Banner. Banner is experiencing stress. He grabs his head. The cop swings the gun back.
Hands in the air, mister. I mean it.
The first cop returns, picks up his partner's mood, and pulls his gun, too.
They're on their way. We just caught ourselves an FBI most wanted spy.
Just then, Banner lurches forward, collapsing, actually. But the cops don't know that, and the second cop's nerves get the better of him. He fires. Banner is hit high in the arm. It spins him around and into a tray of equipment, crashing to the floor, out of sight, trailing blood. I'll call an ambulance. Krieg exits. The cops approach around the equipment. Banner's foot comes into view. Then the lights start to flicker, a heartbeat rises. Banner's foot splits fine Italian leather with skin more leathery and green. Oh, you better get out of here.
Shut up, kid.
I mean it. You don't know what you're messing with. The electron microscope is torn from its mountings and takes out the first cop and most of the wall. Thus, in the darkness of the destroyed lab, a huge shadow rises. The second cop and gets his flashlight on and points it with his gun at the Hulk. 500 pounds of snarling, pissed off, mad.
Where the hell did What the hell is that?
Run! The cop unfreezes himself, wisely decides not to fire, and runs. The Hulk turns to Rick. A tense moment. Rick holds his ground. Doc, it's me. The Hulk snarls in an annoyed grunt. Look, you know me, Doc. You saved my life. An angrier growl as he moves towards Rick. Each footstep shakes and reverberates the room. Okay, look, I won't call you Doc. Rick stands his ground. Try to remember who you are. Or were. Sirens in the night. The Hulk turns like an animal at their sound. For something so big, the Hulk moves surprisingly fast, leaping to the windowsill, frozen for a moment like a William Blake doing Dante. Then the glass shatters. Interior, exterior, car, same. Ross, Major Talbot, and Captain Siegel in one car. In front of them, a string of police cars, sirens, wailing. The headlights of the lead car suddenly illuminate the Hulk, frozen like a deer, well, more like Sasquatch, too big and bizarre to believe. His black-green pupils contract in an instant in the glare of the lights. The car plows into the Hulk with a metal-rending crash. Totaled. Men's heads spider the windshield like a crash test dummy as the car goes from 60 to 0 in an instant. In the middle of this, there's an animal roar. Another car plows into the mess, then a third. The rest screech to a stop. The Hulk is unharmed, just steps back away from the accident. A jumble of broken headlights and light bars play over him. Ross is out of the car. Talbot and Captain Siegel beside her.
What is that? What in God's name is that? It's 7 feet tall.
A lot of law enforcement officials draw a lot of guns. The riot gear comes out as they spread, find cover, flanking the Hulk. Captain Siegel grabs a megaphone from the car.
Hold it. You are under arrest. Put your hands in the air.
Siegel turns to Ross.
Does it understand English? What am I doing?
Cops close in on the Hulk, guns pointed. The Hulk roars and swats at the closest man. He knocks the gun out of his hand, which incidentally breaks the man's arm with a loud snap. The man collapses, screaming in pain.
Oh, shit.
Get those lights over here.
Ross takes a megaphone.
This is Agent Ross with the FBI.
Hulk turns around at the sound of Ross's voice and gets out a quiet, puzzled sound as spotlights light up the street.
Holy cow, the guy's green.
The Hulk. His expression is soft, almost pleading as he advances on Ross. This throws her.
Hold it right there.
The Hulk doesn't. Ross grabs a gun.
We'll be forced to fire if you don't hold your position.
But Hulk gives no sign he understands. Ross raises the gun. He steps back, as do other officers. Hulk reaches towards her. Ross and the Hulk, he's right in her sights. Maybe she recognizes something in the monster, a dim humanity.
Open fire!
A hail of bullets before the words are out of his mouth. Everyone fires except for Ross. But the damage is done. The Hulk roars in surprise. The bullets hurt. Of more concern, they make him angry. He's still standing, the bullets hitting his skin like tire rubber, some bouncing off, some impacting with a tiny thunk.
Sweet Mother of Mary.
The Hulk endures. He turns to Ross with a puzzled, hurt expression.
No, stop firing.
But who can hear her? The fusillade continues. Guns are reloaded. Hulk has had enough. He sweeps the nearest cops aside, sending some flying onto the hoods of cars, spidering windshields. He bellows and stamps the ground with a massive foot, splitting the asphalt, unbalancing a handful of cops, and tilting a cop car into a fissure. Hulk gathers himself as if about to make a charge.
He's gonna charge.
Nope, he hunkers down with a powerful crouch and leaps. The ground shakes, and in an instant, he's gone. Talbot, Siegel, and the officers look around. Silence. Suddenly, a crash 60 yards away behind them in the darkness. Everyone turns, spotlights follow the sound.
Over there.
But only for an instant. Another spring, and the sound of his landing is another distant thump further away.
Where did he? That way.
Another rumble, and the Hulk is gone. on Ross and Talbot. Captain Siegel approaches Ross, holstering his gun.
Before I endanger the lives of my men further, you want to tell me what we're hunting here? Dr. Bruce Banner. What about that? Captain, I honestly have no idea.
Ross and Talbot have no answers for this.
We're gonna need helicopters, right?
Cut to interior Gamma Labs, Los Osos night. The place is buzzing again. With some exotic new equipment and letters redesigns, it's more diverse, yet strangely scattered, incomplete. A sinister layer with a sinister air to the whole enterprise. Lab animals are being unloaded. Letter works on a remote armature plugged directly into a computer through 100 exposed electrode wires. The electroskeleton of a hand articulates just like a normal hand. Letter puts a brick into it, programs it, and it closes, popping the brick into dust. Beside the hand, a leg and torso designed so a human might fit inside.
That's some suit. 42 long.
You like it?
Letter moves through the lab, stopping to correct everyone he passes. A beehive of activity. The mercenaries from the truck are scattered strategically, keeping an eye on things, looking out of place in lab coats. Letter stops at a pair of scientists we recognize from Banner's earlier Gamadium experiments. It reads from a clipboard.
Has the distillation of the nuclear isomers, isomers, yes, yielded the atomic numbers I specified?
Yes, how did you know it would work? Look, it's never been done before.
Because I ran the experiment up here before I let you idiots try it down here.
Letter jots notes on a clipboard.
Not heavy enough. Now run it again using these specs. It's still of insufficient purity.
For what?
Run it again and get me more animals.
And as insulting as Letter's tone, the scientists obey, almost automatically, as if Letter's will, when exercised, is too strong to be defied. Letter rubs his slightly bulging head in a momentary pain. Physically, he looks weaker and weaker. Mentally, his words turn into deeds of others. Letter motions to Gus, Mary, and a couple of mercs.
Project New Dawn must go forward now. I need room, the underground access. Oh yes, look, look, look,
Letter?
letter. Yes, we're not scientists. We don't know anything about. Just do what I tell you.
Nearby, two scientists talk quietly. Look, I've never seen anything like it. The man's brilliant, obsessed. Every one of these is an industry-creating patent.
Yes, but who are these outside consultants? I don't like it.
Letter passes by.
They're here to help.
As if the power of later sentiment overwhelms the man's own thoughts, he's suddenly genuinely enthusiastic.
I'm just glad they're here to help.
Cut to exterior Las Vegas alley night. In silhouette, a human-sized figure digs in a dumpster for necessities. He comes up with pants and a dirty sweatshirt and puts them on. Banner looks weak. He lurches from the alley and into the near daylight glare of Las Vegas at night and stumbles into a couple of conventioneers with dates. Hey, watch it, you bum! Interior, Marlo's sweet night. Banner knocks on the door and Marlo answers in an evening gown.
Look, it's not the best time.
When she sees his condition, she opens the door.
Oh dear.
Sitting on the couch is Vincent, the guy who thought fashion reached its zenith with Miami Vice.
Okay.
Who's this guy, Marl?
Marl? Rick Jones arrives in time to hear this. Hey, Doc, are you okay? I thought you'd come back here.
Who's the
What happened to Marlo's boyfriend? Who's the greaseball? Marlo winces. Vince laughs.
My friend?
Rick makes a mental note and tends to Banner. Vincent stands as Banner hits the couch. How you feeling, Doc? Whoa. Rick examines Banner's bullet wound from earlier. It's healed right up.
What's going on here, Marlo? I had plans tonight.
Banner looks awful, worse each time back.
Help me.
Wish I knew how.
I need something to relax.
I had some Valium.
Marlo exits to get it. Vince follows her, growing anger.
I hurt people last night, didn't I? Oh, God.
Well, that wasn't you, Doc.
Yes, it was. I remembered some of it this time.
Maybe you're getting better. Banner's soul is bearing an increasing weight. He runs a hand through his hair and it comes away with clumps.
I'm getting worse. It's getting harder to hold it in.
Marlo returns, hands Banner a pill bottle. Vince is angry.
What are you doing?
Maybe you should check with a doctor.
He is a doctor. Banner pops a big handful of them. Vince grabs Marlo roughly to face him.
Hey, I'm talking to you, babe. Who the hell are these guys?
They're friends of mine, Vince. He's sick. He needs a place to stay. Can we talk about this tomorrow?
No, we can't. Look, I pay the rent here.
Fine. Tomorrow I'm out. Now let go of me.
Hands off the lady, Jack. Rick grabs Vince. Vince shakes loose. Rick rears back and punches him straight in the chin. It moves him maybe a quarter turn. He backhands Rick hard, sending him over a chair.
Kid, you're stupid.
Rick climbs to his feet, fighting mad, and he's staring down the barrel of Vince's gun.
Sit down, short stuff. Max.
Maxie enters from another door, an ex-heavyweight who's only gotten larger since.
Boss?
Watch these guys.
A gangster. You're dating a gangster. Marlo can only shrug helplessly and shake her head. She didn't know. Rick just slaps his head in amazement. Maxie looks long and hard at Banner.
Hey, that's that guy who was they were looking for on television. The same guy.
What?
Vince grabs the TV remote, but doesn't need it. Under it is the newspaper. Banner's picture is prominent. So are the words manhunt and spy. Vince reads and walks to Marlo.
You bring a wanted federal fugitive to my place? Are you crazy?
Vince is about to slap her. Rick grows up fast. Hey, leave her alone. It's my fault. I forced my way back into her life. She never had a chance. Nice words. If Rick weren't a kid, it might play better. Look, I've got to get him to a doctor. We'll get out of here, and you'll never see us again. Come on, Marlo.
Come on, Marlo. Cute.
Marlo mouths thanks to Rick.
Vince, they're just passing through.
A knock at the door.
They picked a lousy night. I'm expecting people. Put him in back. You stay here.
Maxie lifts Banner and carries him to the back bedroom. Rick sits tight. Maxie returns. Another knock. Vince puts away the gun and answers the door. Two punks, ponytailed, scraggly.
My friends, come in. This is Marlo, my girl. Maxie, you know, and my nephew, Marvin.
Let's do some business.
I don't believe this. Your taste in men stinks.
I had no idea.
Camera picks up in the TV in the background. A drawing of the Hulk. A really crappy, overly muscled artist rendering of the Hulk by Rob Liefeld or one of the guys at Image. A college hoax or monster on the loose. The sightings of this Hulk were reported all over Las Vegas last night. We have exclusive video shot by a university student out his dorm window. Roll video and unclear, shaky image of the Hulk's confrontation with Ross and the cops. Cut to interior hallway outside the Gamma Lab night. A sign, no admittance. A couple of scientists stand in front of it. Locked out. He says he doesn't need assistance anymore. We're just slowing him down.
Who does he think he is, Bruce Banner?
Interior lab monitoring room, same. One figure sits alone in the darkened room facing the rows of computer monitors. They're all being used as televisions. Satellites pulling up signals from all over the world. 50 different channels all going at once. Later looks ill, a blanket around his frail shoulders. His now delicate fingers play over the keyboard. All the other monitors respond at changing and resetting. A lot of info. One monitor plays something familiar. A local news report. Police scene. Destruction. Closer, visible now is the Super, Las Vegas, Nevada. A weary police officer looks to the reporter. Now the eyewitness video. The same image fills the monitors, including the one in front of him. The Hulk. Later watches with full attention.
Banner.
Camera moves in on later. The light coming off the monitor gives his skin a faint greenish glow. The light coming from the monitor, however, is not green. Cut to interior Marlo's suite night. A bunch of guns in an aluminum suitcase. Vince shows them proudly.
AK-47s, Glocks. What's your pleasure?
You're selling guns?
I'm a businessman. I sell a lot of things. I pay the bills. What do you care?
Margot looks at Vince with disgust. A punk takes out a sleek automatic and checks the action.
All right, all right.
The punk sights down the gun and smiles at Rick Jones, who'd like nothing better than to punch his lights out. You tricked this loser.
What was that?
I was wondering if you were a Hoosier. I thought I heard an Indiana accent.
Orange County.
Punk unrolls a bankroll of money. A knock at the door. Everyone turns. The punks grab guns. Maxie reaches for his.
What the?
What's going on? Who's that?
Don't get itchy.
Vince motions to Marlo. She goes to the door, opens it a crack. It's Ross and Major Talbot with 2 cops.
Good evening, Miss Chandler? Yes. Agent Ross, FBI, and Major Talbot, U.S. Army. I was wondering if we might talk with you?
Major Talbot and the cops take free looks at Marlo.
Not the best time. I'm sorry, but this is important.
Inside the room, Vince, Maxie, and the 2 punks are trading whispered accusations.
The feds? The damn army? What is this?
I don't like the army, Scott.
Vince gestures. He has no idea. At the door, Ross and Marlo.
Have you seen this man?
She holds out a picture of Banner.
Yes, at the club where I sing. He came to the other night. Any idea where he might be?
In the bedroom, Banner rises groggily.
Eddie?
In the suite, the guys with guns. Banner stumbles in, all guns point at him, all whispers. Hey, Doc, relax. It's okay.
Don't move. Nobody moves.
Sit down and shut up.
At the door,
I'm sorry. Well, if you see him, please call us. I certainly will.
Marlo smiles and shuts the door. She's not a bad actress. Interior hallway, same. Ross and Talbot walk away.
Something odd back there.
Interior Marlo's suite, same. Marlo turns back to the room and breathes a sigh.
Now, finish this crap, Vince, then I'm out of here.
The hell you are.
Vince grabs her as, overlapping.
Hey, nobody's leaving, all right?
Put the gun away, kid.
Step back, big man.
I'm warning you.
Everybody is screaming at once. And dig that crazy heartbeat. Banner grabs his head. Think good thought, Docs. Think good thoughts, Doc. Don't get angry. Please.
Sit down, Doc, now.
Vince pokes him with a gun, but Banner has taken the final turn. Banner grabs the gun.
No, you sit down, you pathetic punk. What do you need these for?
Banner's fingers crush the barrel. Everyone is stunned. Banner's voice changes.
Because you're weak?
Banner slaps Vince and knocks blood out of his mouth.
Is that it? A puny coward?
A light bulb explodes overhead. Maxie grabs Banner. Banner shoves him with one hand, but it's a big green hand. Maxie flies through the room and takes a jacuzzi. Banner looks at his arm and it ebbs and flows back to normal. He's out of control.
No.
Banner bolts for the door. Wait, Doc!
It's a setup.
I'm sorry, it's a what?
It's a setup.
Thank you. All the hair triggers in the room go at once. Maxie from the jacuzzi, the punks pop, clip in, and fire at him. Flip chairs. Vince has another gun out, firing at the punks as he leaps horizontal. Bullets rip the room. Rick throws Marlo down behind the bar, Grand Opera style. Banner makes it to the door. Interior hallway, same. Banner flies into the hallway. A hail of bullets chop the door and fire to firewood behind him. Maybe he's hit, hard to tell. Ross and Talbot down the hall turn up the noise. They see Banner heading for the stairwell. As he runs, the overhead lights flicker and pop as he passes.
Banner?
Banner freezes. His eyes meet Ross's, but it's too late. He's changing. A wave of nausea passes over Banner, and his skin seems to shimmer and crawl for an instant.
Ross, I'm sorry.
He's down the stairwell door. Cops approach the suite with armed care. Talbot motions to the stairwell.
Get him.
The stairwell. Banner seems distended, his shape awkward and wrong, changing, as he races downstairs.
No, look, me.
Ross and Talbot right after him, followed by the cops. The camera stays on what they miss, a handprint in the metal doorframe. Blood on the landing until, suddenly, the trail is gone. Ross and Talbot stop, puzzled. Interior casino floor, same. The stairwell door blows off its hinges and the Hulk crashes through. Amazed stares from the gambling crowd. Across the casino floor, toppling slots and bounding across the tables, pandemonium. Exterior hotel casino, same. People run madly. Once in the street, the Hulk's muscles bunch and he launches himself across the street, shattering the mammoth neon marquee as he lands on the roof 70 feet away. A guy in a sharkskin suit watches.
Look, up in the sky.
Travis.
I saw that.
Didn't say it.
Goddamn flying green gorilla.
Thank you. The Hulk leaps from the shattered marquee, doing more damage, making it to the roof of another casino. Ross and Talbot are in the street. No sign of Banner. Just mass panic. She flashes her shield to Sharkskin.
Did you see a white male about 5'10", 150 pounds? No, ma'am.
And he's not lying. It's futile, a panic riot. Ross takes out a handset and barks orders into it. In the background, Rick and Marlo slip out with the casino with the crowd. Camera moves up from Ross's position and over the city, across rooftops too quickly for a man to move, blocks away to exterior rooftop, same. The Hulk, without a trace of the concerns Banner had a moment ago, sitting like a stone gargoyle on a run-down tenement in a quieter part of town. Somewhere there aren't people, where no one would hunt him, where no one would care. Around him are pigeons, lots of them. The Hulk watches a pigeon nibble at crumbs around him. With one large hand, he reaches out and nudges the bird. The bird goes right on eating. The Hulk makes a small sound and it sounds like a sigh. A door opens. The Hulk turns threateningly. Someone's on the roof. An elderly black man, simple, carrying stale bread, pigeon food. He opens the cages and starts to feed his pets.
How'd you get all up here?
Nope.
I didn't see you.
Previous line.
Oh, sorry, excuse me. I meant to say, here you go, plenty for all you all.
There you go. He exits the cage and tosses the leftover food to the strays on the roof. That's when he sees the Hulk. Without pause, the man walks over to the Hulk. The Hulk sees him come and sits down beside him.
How'd you get all up here? Didn't see you. I didn't see you.
The man offers the Hulk some stale bread. The Hulk doesn't take it, so the man pushes it into his hand.
It don't matter here. They come right up to you.
A few bold pigeons nibble on the bread, clutched in the Hulk's hand. The Hulk pulls away from the birds and takes a bite himself.
How'd you get so big if nobody feed you? That's a ridiculous thing. You're all green.
The Hulk turns a blank stare to the man.
I've never seen a green man. You probably got teased about that. Probably you come up here to be alone, then I come up talking.
The Hulk's gaze follows the man as he stands. The man smiles. Jarringly, a helicopter rises over the rooftop like a mammoth bird.
What?
The man stumbles back. The helicopter hovers there. Noise and wind. The peace is shattered. That's Roger. We got him right here.
Hey, why don't you leave the man alone?
But before the man can plead his case, the Hulk gently pushes him in the direction of the exit.
You can be careful. Don't let him push you around none.
High angle. The Hulk paces like a trapped animal. Another helicopter pens him in. The Hulk caught in the middle. Sharpshooters and out the doors. The copters move closer. On the street, Ross and Talbot pull up. Ross races up to Captain Siegel at the command post. Helicopters overhead.
Hold your fire.
Too late. The first helicopter lets loose with a rocket.
And how should we stop this thing?
Rocket's POV, the Hulk screaming in. The Hulk screams. Boom. Not with a rocket. The Hulk steps through the flames and growls displeasure.
We got a big problem. The Hulk kicks the brick chimney stack, sending the pieces out like mortar right for the helicopter. Metallic whack as the main rotor fails, another chunk shatters the windshield. The helicopter careens wildly against the side of the abandoned building. Another one moves in as the Hulk runs for the edge of the building and leaps. POV from inside the helicopter. The Hulk hurtles right at them.
Oh no.
The helicopter turns, and the Hulk plows right through the cabin. Inside the helicopter, the pilot struggles with the addition of the sudden weight while looking over his shoulder at the bizarre attraction. The Hulk exits the way he came, down to the street, cracking a crater like a bomb drop. The helicopter tries to regain balance, but the fuselage starts spinning out of control. Below, the Hulk climbs out of the crater, and as the helicopter goes down, smoking off screen. He runs away through the smoke. It swirls and eddies around him. On his eyes, fade to Banner opening his eyes. Sirens, an explosion. The first thing that greets him, and still the sirens. He tries to close his eyes, but he's awake now. Clutching his torn pants at his waist to prevent him from falling down, and heads down an alley to glimpse Banner's POV, the destruction, the hell zone. In the distance, 2 columns of smoke from the downed helicopters, nearby police cars upended like toys, thrown through storefronts. When did this happen? Flames, fire trucks, and ambulance on the scene. The raw power that must have caused this. He can't look. He turns away and starts to walk off in the other direction, passing onlookers, would-be rescuers, a news truck, all going towards the disturbance. Banner runs, holding what's left of his pants. Now running all out, and the pants drop. Helicopter POV, a naked man down an alley. The same path we saw on page 1, but from a god's eye view. Exterior street, same. Rick Jones in the confusion, searching. Hey, Doc, where are you? Police command post. Amid the carnage, Ross and Talbot rejoin Captain Siegel and host of supporting uniforms.
I hope you have your reinforcements coming, because that Hulk's taking our best.
Interior tenement, same. Same as page 1. Banner in there, huddled, cold and alone, shivering. Outside, same. An officer reports to Ross.
We got a positive on Banner. He was seen running into a building around the corner.
They mobilize. Exterior tenement, same. Police to a cordon around the building. SWAT men take position. Marksmen get to high ground. Captain Siegel takes out a megaphone and is about to speak. Hands it to Ross.
Your show, Agent Ross.
She raises the megaphone.
Listen to me.
Whoop, whoop, whoop. Drowned out by the chopper blades beating down the air, larger and louder. All stop as an army transport helicopter dwarfs the local equipment and puts down at the intersection. Later exits and walks to Ross.
What's happening?
I'm taking charge of the situation.
General Ross is right behind them. Ross looks at her father, and the general nods. Yeah, we'll take it from here.
If that monster is in there,
That monster is exactly what I'm interested in. This Hulk, as the media is calling it, it's a matter of public safety and national security. It's been assigned to the Gamma Project for the purposes of scientific research.
what about Bruce?
Banner was your concern, Miss Ross. You failed. I'm in charge of this operation now.
He's in there too.
I don't care.
Later smiles, knowing full well by now that the Hulk and Banner are one and the same. Ross can only watch as Later's troops take over.
What are you
What
going
are you
to
gonna
stop? Oh, sorry.
What are you going to stop it with?
American ingenuity, Captain.
He takes the megaphone.
This is the United States Army. The area has been cordoned off. You are surrounded.
Interior tenement, same. Banner grabs the soiled clothing and puts the rancid stuff on. It's too big. Intercut later in Banner.
I'm going to count down from 10. If you don't come out, we're coming in. Whoever you are, you can't escape. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
Banner. Hands over his ears to drown out his own heartbeat. The hands distort, knot and ripple, bunching beneath the skin like animals ready to pounce.
2,
Please, no, don't make me.
1.
I'll hurt you.
Interior tenement, same. Banner changes, start to finish this time. putting the incredible in Hulk. He bends double, clutching his pounding head. His heartbeat fills the room, a booming Geiger counter to an unbelievable metabolic change taking place.
You want me?
Hair coarsens, thinning and reknitting itself according to the new set of DNA blueprints. Under the skin, his skull thickens. Stored energy is converted by his gamma-radiated cells into raw power. His hands broaden and darken as the skin deepens. He lunges to his feet, thrashing, breaking the window board-ups. It is these movements that tear the seams of his clothing, but the overcoat and duster hang together better than previous wardrobes. Dr. Bruce Banner is gone. In his place, the unreasoning, brutish Hulk. He snarls defiance. Exterior tenement same. The Hulk's tortured shout echoes like a caged beast. Cops shift in anticipation and, later, smiles. A deep rumble. Something takes out a structural support and 3 floors of the building collapse in on themselves in partial demolition. Like an inside job by a wrecking ball. The second floor explodes outward with the force of a cannon. Bricks and cement tumble. The Hulk jumps from the gutted second floor as if 20 feet were 2, and the ground shakes when the Hulk lands. A roar that sounds like alone, a primal snarl as he sizes up the odds, facing off with about 100 armed officers. Rick Jones looks up from the police perimeter and sees the face-off. Uh-oh, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble! He's worried about the cops until... Hold your fire! Captain relays the command. The general turns to Later. It better work. Later flips a slim communication stalk into place in front of his mouth. The back of a transport helicopter opens, revealing cyber soldiers. You saw the armatures in the lab. This is the finished product. Dark, malevolent, post-punk. 4 prototypes of the Later's design. Computer-assisted, strength, and ability-enhancing armor wired directly into a human interface. That means a human inside. Are there men inside those things? The general is lost somewhere between impressed and horrified.
Patriotic volunteers, General.
Later looks confident. Whatever he mumbles into his headset is inaudible, but the cyber soldiers respond instantly. 7 feet tall, taller and more V-shaped than the thick-bodied Hulk. They flank him. The Hulk snorts, unimpressed. Cyber One steps up, his movements jerky but fast as a through advancing. The Hulk doesn't wait. He throws a double-handed hammer punch at Cyber One. The futuristic mix of man and machine takes it, swaying backward with the force of the blow, but not falling. The Hulk looks surprised, but only for a second. Servos kick in, and Cyber One raises a leg and thrusts out a kick. The Hulk takes to the gut and is lifted off his feet, propelled like a wrecking ball into a building. Hulk sits up, can't believe it. He looks at Later, clearly in command. Their eyes lock. The rest of the cybers advance on Hulk. The Hulk crouches and runs towards Later. He hits Cyber One halfway there, catches him low. Hulk and Cyber One plow into a police car as cops scatter. The Hulk is up, advancing towards Later again. Cyber One rises a beat before more slowly behind him.
Incredible. The angry he gets, the stronger he gets.
Later whispers into his communication stalk.
Don't. You can't kill him.
Of course not, Miss Ross. I want to study him.
Rick Jones tries to fight his way through the police line. Come on, Doc, you can whip these guys. Back to the scene. As Hulk lumbers towards the police line and Later, Cyber 2 makes a grab from behind. The Hulk thrashes and tries to throw him off, but the armored pest locks down tight. Cyber 3 rains a series of blows down to a struggling Hulk, like a hydraulic drill press against flesh, no matter how tough, pounding him senseless. The Hulk roars and throws himself backwards into a building. Cyber 2 cushions the blow nicely. Hulk tries to scrape Cyber 2 off as Cyber 1 rushes towards them. Cyber 2 loses his grip, and Hulk turns and Cyber 1 connects with Cyber 2, discharging a powerful current of electricity, frying the man inside Cyber 2. Later, shrugs, impressed maybe. Cyber 2 is out. Rick Jones quietly celebrates the victory in the midst of the crowd rooting for the other team. Yes! The Hulk advances on Later, Ross, and the General. This isn't working.
It's not intended to. It's a test.
Crying out loud, he's got to be stopped.
I've seen enough.
He mumbles into his stock, and Cyber 4 lifts a futuristic-looking bazooka to his shoulder. The Hulk still moves forward. Ross reads something in the Hulk's face as she steps forward. With Betty, no!
Who are you?
There's something familiar. Does she know? The Hulk stops. Cyber 4 aims. Later's lips move. Cyber 4 fires. The Hulk is hit dead center in the back with a souped-up goo gun blast. Like a flamethrower, a thick stream of sticky foam envelops the Hulk, expanding on contact, enveloping his arms and legs like tar, making every movement an impossible effort. Still, the Hulk keeps walking, struggling inch by inch. The stuff hardens. What is that stuff?
Goo, though it's a bit more technical than that, but now he's fighting himself.
And winning.
Incredible.
The 3 remaining cyber soldiers fire wire-strung darts into the gooey mass, plunging deep until they contact skin. Then they discharge glowing gamma-powered energy sources like massive tasers into the Hulk. The air crackles with green electric bursts, and the Hulk looks directly at Betty as he takes the full, awful power of the later's devices. He struggles, but cannot move to pull the tasers out. His muscles are locked rigid. The effort is almost beyond him, but he utters a strained plea, a single word. His voice is deep. It sounds like the noises issuing from deep within the earth.
Betty, leave alone.
His eyes roll back into his head and he collapses. Radiation-suited technicians run forward and douse the Hulk with buckets of pink solvent. The goo runs off him like jello that hasn't had time to set. More technicians wrap the Hulk's prone form in cables, and the cyber soldiers lift his massive weight onto what looks like a lead-lined sarcophagus. A fast hydraulic hiss as the locks seal. Newsmen break through the police lines, hungry for an exclusive. Microphones are stuck into Leader's face as he negotiates past the crush of reporters to a helicopter.
Is this a secret government experiment run amok? Why is Washington hiding clear evidence of extraterrestrial beings? No comment, I'm sorry.
As he turns from the reporters, a single bead of green sweat trickles down his brow. He takes a handkerchief from his pocket and mops it, unnoticed by all. His skin has a pasty color to it, where the sweat wiped off the makeup. The general and Talbot follow. Ross stops them.
What about Banner?
If he was inside, he's dead. If not, he's a civilian fugitive. With Later around, Banner's obsolete. He's the FBI's problems. I'm sorry, honey.
Agent Ross, it's been a pleasure. You get to Los Osos again. Look me up.
He winks without meaning to. The helicopter rises and heads out for the desert, leaving Ross at the scene. Rick Jones watches from the crowd as the wrap-up ensues. Marlo catches up with him. They completely forgot about me. They don't even care. I'm off the hook.
What about your friend, the doc?
Meanwhile, Ross talks to some cops.
Anything?
Nothing alive in there. We're still searching, though.
Ross can't believe it. Cut to interior, Universal Casino, D'Angelo room, morning. Ross has coffee but no appetite. Rick sits down opposite her.
I should arrest you.
But you're looking for the doc.
He said he'd be here. He's dead.
He's not dead. If you want to find him, you're gonna have to trust me. Cut to a row of cybers stand against the wall like marionettes waiting for commands. Thick leaded glass separates later from where. Interior Gamma Lab containment chamber. Banner reclines in what looks like a dentist chair hooked up to monitoring devices. EEGs wired to his scalp, EKGs to his chest. An IV drip distributes a milky fluid to his strap-restrained arm. Later controls the equipment from the monitoring room. He dials down some digital numbers and Banner's eyes open groggily.
Good morning, Doctor.
You were the spy.
I know, I was thinking small.
Banner squints through the thick glass that separates them.
Looks sick.
Sure enough, Later looks worse. Nearly bald, his hairline is receded over a slightly bulging expanse of forehead. His eyes are sunken and heavily bagged. He looks frail. He looks like he's dying.
You should have seen yourself about 2 hours ago. I was contaminated, Banner. Like you, but different. Different genes, different exposure. You got the full treatment. A complete and instantaneous mutation of your cell structure.
Later starts to undress as he talks. First the lab coat.
I, only the other hand, am facing a slow transformation.
Banner watches in horror as the shirt comes off next.
That my body is not liking to survive. The damn shame is.
Later is thinner and frailer than a living human has any right to be. Transparent, almost alien in appearance. Note, a computer processed image will freak the actor for this scene.
That my mind banner is so healthy I can see things you have no idea.
Later taps his healthy looking forehead.
Need help.
Who doesn't? Don't worry, I have the most brilliant mind on the planet working on it. Mine, I wish you were even half as brilliant as I've become, just so you could really appreciate my brilliance. Look around this lab. I've approved everything I touch. These loyal cyber soldiers, my invention, human reflection, and instinctive decision making combined with the trusty obedience of a computer.
Later removes the helmet from one of the cybers to reveal Gus. A direct neural link in the machine has rendered him a drooling, blank-eyed vegetable, yet still alive. Later caresses his dead-eyed face.
Yes, Gus, the clothes make the man. The trick is when you ask for volunteers, never tell them exactly what they're volunteering for. A direct natural link to the central nervous system. The rest was absolute, so I disconnected it.
Later is so flip, it's pathetic and tragic. We're horrified. A drugged Banner tries to turn away.
But what good is all my brilliance if I can't find a way to stop dying? You were the key, my mutant half brother. Do you realize the odds against us both surviving those dosages? 2,700,033 to 1. It should have killed us. It is killing me. But why isn't it killing you? That's the question. That's been bothering me ever since I realized you and that hulking green monster were one and the same. So I'm glad you stopped by. I took the opportunity to run some tests. Somehow your cells managed to store and discharge the gamma building up without any damage to the organism. Of all people to survive this, it had to be you.
Singing the song of the same name, later flicks some controls and Banner's red blood runs up an IV tube, passes through the barrier wall that separates into a variety of samples. Banner tries to pull free, but he's too weak.
Don't bother, you're incredibly sedated. You're also inside a pressure chamber that reads your metabolism and corrects the balance that massive strength you develop when you get stupid. In your condition, you'd be crushed before you made it to the door.
Banner's pupils narrow, like a caged animal. Green flecks rise to the surface, and just as quickly subside.
Be proud you're making a contribution to science.
Cut to exterior Los Ojos Day. Ross drives. She flashes her ID at the guard gate.
Sorry, the base is sealed for security reasons. I'm with the FBI. I was assigned to this base. Check with General Ross. Sorry, miss. Doesn't matter. Base is sealed for security precautions. Letters, orders. Does General Ross know about this? Expect he must.
Ross nods, looks straight ahead, and floors it. The gate arm and perimeter fence break. The guard grabs a rifle and fires a warning shot or two into the cloud of dust after the car, but it's over the rise and down. At exterior, Los Ojos, same. Ross's car, like a bat out of hell through the main drag. Soldiers wait for her. She stops the car, keeping her hands plain in view. Major Talbot greets her.
You said to look you up.
Talbot doesn't smile. On the hill, the Gamma Lab smokestacks billow ominous plumes. Interior, General Ross's office day. Betty faces the General, Talbot, and Samson. Look, the base is sealed because we're conducting a top-secret investigation into that Hulk creature.
Who is?
Later.
When did later become an expert in biology? Advanced weaponry? Robotics?
Later has made some impressive breakthroughs.
He's an engineer, and he's a brilliant man.
Yes, he is. Since the accident. Banner's here.
Ridiculous. So you think we know about it?
I don't think you'd ask any questions as long as you were getting what you wanted. How much do you know about Letter's Gamma project?
I know he's done what Banner couldn't. Got the government funds flowing again, and he's already demonstrated some impressive innovations in law enforcement technology, as you saw.
And he's got a free hand, doesn't he? When was the last time you were inside the Gamma lab?
Exterior Gamma Lab Day. Ross, General Ross, Major Talbot, and Doc Samson, and 2 MPs. I'm gonna show you you're making a mountain out of a molehill.
The place is locked, General.
The general unholsters his firearm and uses the butt to knock loudly on the doors. High above, a surveillance camera swings around. A moment later, opens the door. His body is spidery and angular under the drape of the lab coat.
General.
Thought I'd come take a look around. Tour the facility. Check your progress. A moment. To their surprise,
It's time you did. Come in.
interior Gamma Lab same. Later walks them through the extensive lab. Bits and pieces of experimental brilliance lie strewn around the messy space.
I've been making great strides in all facets of my work, but you're probably most interested in my work with the Hulk and my radiation effects experiments.
Hallway, radiation chambers. Later's House of Horrors. Line both sides of the hallway, like the ones he and Banner were brought to after the blast. With insulated, leaded, double-glassed walls in disarray, empty for the most part until a pile of lab animal corpses, badly burned, vivisected, lying in a pile as if discarded. Fur and blood. Before they can react to that, the camera swings across the hall. A charred human remains burnt to a cinder in the middle of a strapped-down table. Clothing remains are army issue.
My God.
Samson retches. The general reserves judgment.
What is that?
As you know, the effects of radiation are horrible for the most part.
Later keeps walking, stops in front of the next chamber. What was once a man is now a decaying, deformed figure, skin blistering around bony protrusions, arms reduced to a little more than flippers. This is outrageous.
Isn't it? Gamma radiation creates mutations in only a small fraction of exposure cases. These were beyond hope.
Another chamber, more creature than man, oozing corroded flesh, useless from the waist down. But the upper torso is still alive, and covered by a hard carapace shell. The head, too. No eyes, ears, or distinguishing features, other than what used to be a mouth, now a small dark opening, shivering in its own juices in a wet cell.
But some survived.
You had some accident in the lab. Later smiles enigmatically and steps through the double doors.
How to save them so that we may save ourselves.
Interior containment chamber, same. Behind glass at the far end of the control room, Banner. Wait, Banner?
Bruce, what have you done to him?
Banner looks weak, barely conscious. Even the general is horrified.
He's just drugged for his own good. He wouldn't be himself without it.
Later turns to face the group.
That concluded our tour. I'm sorry you weren't able to see our prized Hulk exhibit, but he's not in at the moment. Any questions?
Later enjoys his power, knows the feeling and questions he's stirred up in them, and relishes their confusion.
This is insane. They're conducting human experiments.
It is to make an omelet. Omelet do. You've got to break a few eggs.
Look, I'm putting a stop to this right now. The general draws his sidearm. The 2 MPs unholster their guns. Instantaneously, the cyber soldiers step forward and take position around them. Integrated weaponry at the ready. Later's lips move at the cyber level and a cyber levels an impossibly large caliber machine gun at Ross.
I'll take those. I'll be running things from now on, General.
General Ross is a good soldier and isn't about to give up his gun. He goes to fire and the cyber beats him to it. Shoots him twice in a blink, the arm and hand. The gun falls.
Dad.
Talbot nods and the MPs give up their guns.
Don't bleed on the equipment.
Later tosses the tough general a shop rag and Ross helps him stanch the blood. You can't just take over a military base like this. Later leans over a computer console and types a few keys. Over the loudspeaker. You can't just take over a military base like this. Later fiddles with the console. The computer regenerates a numbered coding of Ross's speech patterns and... This is General Ross. All military and non-military personnel will be confined to barracks until further notice. Repeat, this is a security emergency. Exterior Los Ojos Various, same. The general's voice booms from the PA system, and soldiers and civilians double time it to their stations. Interior barracks, same. Inside, soldiers on bunks. The general's voice echoes.
What's up? Must be something big?
Interior gamma lab. Back to scene. Later, confident of his power and with every reason to be.
I can't. It's done. All outside. Communications have been cut. I've got loyal soldiers and plenty of firepower. Now go to your quarters.
The cybers escort them out, back to the radiation chambers.
Except you, dear. Too pretty for that. I have need of a nurse.
Ross stays. Later sits fragilely at his desk. One cyber remains with Later, always.
They make an effort, but they just don't care.
As Ross watches, Later takes out a vanity mirror and applies makeup to a patch of sweat-run light green skin. Hallway, Later's House of Horrors. The cyber tosses Doc Samson into the first chamber. He looks up at the gamma ray generator built into the ceiling. Cut to exterior, Los Ojos, same. A deserted street. The car that Betty drove up in. Sound of a locking door, or a lock opening. Rick Jones climbs out of the trunk, rolls into the shadow of the car. This was my plan? Some plan, Jones. I wish got things taken care of. With that, he runs off in the direction of the Gamma Lab. Cut to interior Gamma Lab containment chamber, same. Ross is at the glass of Banner's chamber.
He should see this, after all. He is responsible.
Later dials the IV flow down. Banner groggily responds.
Better? I solved the puzzle, Doctor, thanks to you. How to stay alive without losing what I've gained. To curb my calls of what's left of their humanity will require a massive release of energy, a concentration of gamma rays sufficient to wipe the slate clean genetically speaking. A crucible of fire in order to be reborn, to reprogram my DNA in an instant.
The leader snaps his fingers.
Like what happened to you, but bigger. A lot bigger.
Leader turns a switch and a dark wall of the lab is suddenly lit from within and rendered transparent. A hangar-sized room rigged by catwalks. At the center of it, a gamma bomb. Modernized and a lot bigger than Banner's original.
I suspect as much as I started on my project New Dawn immediately. My specifications. I made some improvements, I hope you don't mind, but I need to look at your mutant DNA to define the variables.
If you detonate that, you'll kill millions of people.
I love smart women, don't you, Doctor?
Leader sits at a computer terminal and punches up a map of the southwestern United States. He starts a computer-generated model and considerably swivels the screen for Banner to see. Ground Zero. Ground Zero is Los Ojos. The red ground zero obliterates. Colors decreasing towards yellow expand outwards. A cloud of fallout darkens the southeastern United States.
Weather permitting 98.5% exposure fatality within the first 6 weeks. The lucky few survivors within that special something extra in their DNA will turn out interesting.
You're a monster.
No, he's the monster. I'm the genius. There's a reinforced shield chamber below the gadget. It's designed to focus the blast effects to my specifications.
Leader keys in what looks like scientific gibberish at a mind-numbing rate of speed. Actually, he's rewiring a DNA sequence, a map for the radiation filters. Formulas fly across the screen.
By the way, I have your DNA broken down here, Banner. I can offer you a chance to be the Hulk forever.
Ross reacts in surprise. Her worst fears confirmed. Well, maybe no longer her worst.
What?
Later spins around in his chair and responds to Ross.
You didn't know? Banner, the Hulk are one and the same.
Ross looks in horror at Banner, then dawning compassion. Later gives mock compassion to Banner. He enjoys poisoning a genuine human emotion like love.
She had no idea you were a monster? I'm so sorry.
Rick Jones outside the Gamma Lab, using all of his juvie sneaking skills to explore around back of the massive Gamma facility. Up high in air vent, wire hangs off of the roof 20 feet away. Rick tests it. Inside the Gamma Lab, Leader addresses Banner.
I built a chamber beneath the bomb, a type of synchrotron, designed to direct the blast effects to my specifications. Think of the power you'd have with my brains.
Leader exhales, impressed by the possibilities.
You're insane.
I'll take that as a no.
He finishes the key coding and enters the whole thing. On screen, commence detonation sequence. Leader types a code and presses return. The screen moves to countdown. 2 hours, 30, 59, and starts counting. Rick Jones outside. High up in the building, hanging by wires. The air vent is 20 feet away, but he starts running along the side of the building, holding the wire, swinging like a rock climber until he grabs the vent. Inside, Leader, Banner, and Ross.
Of course, if you prefer, I could probably reverse the particle flow and cure you just as easily. Yes, that might work.
Hope flares in Banner's eyes. Ross looks at him. Later smiles with the power.
They were right. Knowledge is power.
Above Leader, a shadow passes above an air vent. Rick Jones makes his move. He drops from the ceiling, knocking Leader to the floor. It worked! Ross leaps away and dials down the IV to Banner. She races to the glass. Leader starts to speak into his communication stock, and Rick slugs him as hard as he can. The cyber takes a deep step towards them and then stops cold. You gotta get out of here, Doc. That was the end of my plan. Banner's head clears a little. He unstraps a hand and rips the IV out.
Can't think. Numb.
He stands at the glass. No way out. Ross tries from her side. No luck. I didn't tell her.
It's okay, I know. Leader's got him drugged.
But he doesn't have the Hulk drugged. Banner's fear of the dark side rises.
No.
Look, Doc, you gotta... He's looking at Ross.
No. I'll hurt you.
It's our only chance, Banner. Let the monster out.
Banner tries. Concentrating, relaxing, but the drugs make it difficult to focus. The door to the room breaks in, and Leader's personal guard of cybers are there. Rick looks back. Leader's conscious. Banner keeps trying. The heartbeat comes up, and it's slowed like he's underwater. Still, Banner fights. Rick takes a shot at Leader, but a cyber sends him flying.
Rick, no.
A cyber grabs Ross in a vice grip, immobilizing her arms while Leader gets to his feet. He walks over to her and hits her. On Banner, the dream, but it's Ross. Leader gets to a keyboard and works it.
Your father is going to be so disappointed in you, Princess.
The image of General Ross comes up on the monitors. About to become another radiation victim. Rick Jones rips a computer monitor out and hurls it across the room towards Leader. This gives Betty enough opening to kick. The cyber pulls her back, but the damage is done. Leader falls across the keyboard and the monitors glitch, switching to a view of Doc Samson's cell with the telltale flash of radiation.
No!
On the video, Samson screams as he takes a radiation bath. The lights flicker, but it's the lights in the lab. Banner is changing. It's different this time. On Ross, watching, mesmerized. We've never seen anything like it. Banner, weakened by the drugs, distorted by the ever-increasing pressure, caught somewhere between Banner and the Hulk, a half-human monster, but he continues to pound the glass harder until it cracks.
I don't believe it.
And shatters. In a rush of air, the half-Hulk tumbles out. You did it.
Betty.
Ross is being held by the cyber, so we don't know what she would do. Banner reaches for her, and as he does, changing back into Banner from exhaustion, Leader watches. A cyber extends a gun to Ross's head. Banner stands up as a man.
Very impressive,
It's over later.
but I'll die.
You'll kill millions.
So?
Problem with bombs is there's always some nut around ready to use them.
Some nut. Do you know who you're talking to?
Third-rate engineer with a big head.
How dare you? I can give you your humanity back. I can offer you the chance to be a man again.
Banner looks at Ross, advances on later.
All those years I was afraid to feel anything. I wanted power to destroy the things that hurt me. That's what the Hulk does, but I'm not scared anymore. Not of myself, not of you, and not of the Hulk. I'm angry at the things that are wrong with this world, with people. and I can change them now.
As he speaks, his fists clench. His heartbeat rises and he starts to change. On purpose.
I've made my choice now.
With a great effort, the Hulk's booming voice fills the chamber.
Leave her alone.
Gonna take more than a talking minky to
Talking what, Travis?
monkey to.
Jesus Christ. The Hulk drops and hammers the ground with both heavy fists. The door buckles as he digs in with his fingers, pulling the floor up. The cyber loses its balance, tumbles to the floor. Ross rolls with the quake. The leader runs for the chamber. The Hulk breaks the metal kneecaps of the struggling cyber. He rips the gun out of its arm and follows leader. Hallway radiation chambers. The cyber stand between Hulk and the leader, but the Hulk is mad. A cyber stands up and the Hulk smashes, boxing the ears and pulping the helmet circuitry. He rips the helmet clean off, exposing the useless, slobbering merc face inside. Enraged, Hulk smashes his fist through the doors of the locked radiation chambers, freeing the prisoners. Interior Gamma Lab, same. Leader stumbles back. Hulk squares off with two cybers. One offers machine gun fire. Hulk keeps advancing through the bullets. Behind him, the last cyber raises the goo gun. The Hulk grabs the machine gun and rips it off like a sleeve, exposing a naked human arm inside. He hurls the robotic arm like a spear behind him, catching the goo gun cyber dead center, knocking him over. The Hulk covers the distance between them in a second, crushing the end of the goo gun closed. The goo explodes with a plop covering the down cyber. Just short of the catwalk to the G-bomb, Hulk turns to leader, who now draws the general's gun. He levels it at Hulk, then turns it to Ross. The Hulk stops. Leader moves towards Ross for protection. Leader's attention is focused on the Hulk. His gun trained on Ross. That's the problem with conventional thinking. Ross is now close to the leader. Close enough to do this. She deflects the gun and at the same time puts a palm into the bridge of the leader's nose. It breaks. Pours milky green blood. She finishes off with a back kick like a pro. Impressed stares all around, from the men until...
I'm an FBI agent, for Christ's sakes.
Rick notices the computer terminals. We still got a problem. The detonation sequence ticking down. We gotta get to the bunker.
It won't matter if that thing goes off.
Everyone turns at Samson's voice. He's about 6 inches taller, square-jawed, handsome, and his hair has turned green. Samson?
It seems I survived a modest dose.
8,000 people on this base.
Millions more in the path of the fallout.
Our only chance is to stop the bomb.
But only leader can disarm it.
And he's not telling.
Or Banner.
Hulk stands there, staring uncomprehendingly.
Well, Banner, what's the genius think about that?
Hulk growls at the sound of the name. Ross turns to the Hulk. The toughness is gone.
Do you understand?
The doc's gone. She refuses to give up. There's a tenderness and femininity we haven't seen. She cares for him.
No. Bruce.
Hulk roars again. He doesn't like that name.
Bruce, listen to me.
The memory tortures the brute, summons the effort to.
No.
Looks like he might kill her. He turns away. To leave?
Yes, a decent man who means a great deal to me.
He stops, and when he turns, there's a single tear running down the Hulk's cheek.
Not Banner.
Hulk sits down heavily. The room quakes,
Yes, you are. Remember.
seeming to shrink as he does so. The green slips away in patches and waves. The massive gamma-thickened skin smooths and relaxes, pingans with a human glow. And Ross does what no gun or bomb could. She brings Banner back. He's weak as a kitten.
Bruce, there's no time.
Banner realized the situation. With a heroic effort of will, he stands, goes to a computer terminal to do what he failed to do the first time. All the monitors in place show the detonation sequence. He plays the keyboard.
What's the password later?
You figured it out, smart guy.
Idiot, give him the password!
Or you'll kill him? Me?
Leader laughs weakly. He's on his last legs.
This is my last chance. Yours too, Banner. The chamber can accommodate two.
Banner looks at him with pity and disgust, continues trying key sequences.
I I can't crack this. I'm gonna try a backdoor to the operating system.
Leader looks worried, but only for a second. He was playing possum. An alarm sounds. Leader smiles.
Oops, 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 oops. Them.
Warning, unauthorized security breach.
That would be the built-in protection, a virus. The system will now consume itself, resulting in detonation. You see, Banner, I hate to lose.
Sure enough, the screen goes green. Circuitry fused, detonation locked. The software eats itself, and the countdown is irreversible. The counter jumps from 2 hours to 2 minutes. Tell me you got an answer for this, Doc? Banner tries the keyboard without effect.
There's no way to prevent the core from going critical.
Are you sure?
Positive.
He's just too damn smart. But Banner realizes something.
No, there's one way.
Banner races to the access tunnel and starts to climb the ladder to the catwalk and the giant bomb casing beyond. Later looks puzzled, then angry.
You fool, self-sacrifice is beneath you.
What do you mean?
He's going to try to manually dismantle the core. The slow radiation exposure will destroy him. Stop him.
The last ploy of a madman? Or
He knows it'll work. It's the only chance we've got, and he didn't count on it.
didn't count on Banner's good heart.
Get a suit. No time. Hey, if anyone can survive this, it's me.
Banner grabs a shielded container and heads across the catwalk into the access tunnel. The rest of them can only watch. Rick puts a hand on Ross's arm. Hey, the doc knows what he's doing. Hulk will protect him. Looking into the bomb casing, Banner moving down the access tunnel. He manually unlocks the mechanism and drops down into the housing. Inside the gamma bomb. Big enough to climb inside, but like his, but different. The grown-up version of a child's toy. Banner is surrounded by the verdant glow of the outer jacket of radioactive isotope. He's sweating almost instantly, but it's the core he wants. He carefully slides the glowing Gamadium 282 canisters out of their seatings, one by one, triggering periodic flashes of light.
What's going on?
Spontaneous fission. The nuclei are unstable.
Banner slides the first canister into his shielded container. Then the next. Slowly, carefully. The flashes are coming now more often, and he's getting weaker with every step. In the lab, everyone holds their breath. Wait, that stuff could kill him? If anyone knows the answer to that question, it's Banner. Boy's got a lot of guts. The general puts a comforting hand on his daughter's shoulder. Inside the bomb, is that the timer ticking or Banner's heart? Thump thump, thump thump, thump thump. Above the catwalk, the lights below. In the lab, the video glitch runs through the monitors, meaning Banner is discharging gamma rays himself now, like a living battery, presaging a change. Banner pauses. A glitch. His hands shake as he chambers the last canister. He grabs the shielded container. Glitch. He works slowly back towards the tunnel, towards the radiation doors, and he stumbles. Glitch. Glitch. Every step is a struggle. Across the catwalk, just short of the hatch, he collapses. Ross races up and opens the door. Banner tumbles out. Samson takes the shielded container. Banner is dying, but manages a weak laugh.
Finally got rid of that ulcer.
She smiles through the emotion.
Don't you leave me.
All my life, I was afraid to care about anything or anyone. If I didn't care, it couldn't be taken away from me.
I'm not going anywhere.
Banner smiles, filled with the warmth of emotion.
I know. I'm sorry.
He grabs her hand tightly. His eyes close.
No, don't leave me, Banner. Not again.
Ross cries. Then a peaceful change washes over Banner as the Hulk takes his place in Ross's arms. A sense of permanence to his last change.
Banner?
The Hulk grunts uncomprehendingly and sits up. He draws himself to his feet and pauses for only a second to look at Betty before he turns away. The air is filled with the possibility of menace. We'll do something. Stop him.
With what?
Talbot and the general wisely step back. Ross follows the Hulk. The Hulk stops and gently pushes her back.
You have to remember.
Almost imperceptibly, he shakes his head and keeps walking, past Leader, past Doc Samson and the freed prisoners.
Bruce, please, come back.
But he doesn't. If the Hulk hears or understands, there is no evidence of it. No emotion shows on his face, except maybe just a hint of regret as he walks out of the lab and into the night. Rick Jones following. Hey, wait up! Fade out. The end. A wildly different take on the Hulk. Certainly more in line with the TV show, a little more depressing, but overall, I think not bad. So thank you so much for joining us, and we will catch you at the next one.